is on point.
Definitely.
Because my lecturer is here.
Don't worry, we trust you. We trust you. But let's go into the history of, the NPP and how the Super Delegates Conference even came about. This will be the second official one being held by the party. How did this start?
Right. So I'd like to give viewers and listeners a 360 picture of the whole thing. So let's go back as far back as 1947, 4th August, in Salt Pond, when the antecedent, the political organism today popularly referred to as the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition, started. I mean, a group of businessmen and lawyers and, of course, the masses came together to form the UGCC, the United Gold Coast Convention. Had the likes of Pa Grant, that wealthy businessman from Sekondi, from the Western region, who bankrolled the process. Had the lawyers like Joseph Kwame Boachichi Dankwa, JB Dankwa. They had Akweje, they had Kwabna Sechi. They had all these lawyers who had just returned from the UK and, I mean, decided to shake things up a bit. They were not happy with the progress towards self-determination and independence, which is what they were seeking for the Gold Coasters at that point in time. So later on, Kwame Nkrumah was brought in. He was brought in to become the full-time general secretary of this political organization, the UGCC. Things happened. There was a breakup. Nkrumah formed his CPP, the Convention People's Party, and things began to hold up a bit. He eventually led the country to become, eventually became, I mean, the leader of the country when the country became independent. But there was this cat and mouse game because things were very heated in the First Republic. So Nkrumah caused a law to be passed called the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, which ensured that political parties were not formed on the basis of religion, tribe, or regionalism. Because at that point, you had a lot of smaller political parties. You had the NLM from Ashanti, you had the Muslim Association Party, you had the Ganshifi Mokwe, you had the SG Anto and Modesto Sapalus, Anlo Youth Association and Togoland Congress and all of that. But the likes of Dankwa and came to brought all of these groups together under what is known as the UP. There was also Buzia's Ghana Congress Party as the UP. Went through it, there was Nkrumah was overthrown. Then the Second Republic, we had the Progress Party. That's also the offshoot of the UGCC or the offshoot of the UP, led by Buzia, and we had Edward Akufo-Addo becoming the ceremonial president. Then something interesting happened in the Third Republic. This political party that essentially identifies as center-right, conservative, liberal, democratic, broke up into two pieces. I mean, there's an excellent exposition of how this happened in Appiah Menken's book called The River in the Sea, about how it happened. But of course, there was a split. PFP, Popular Front Party, led by that lawyer Victor Usu, and the UNC led by Pauli. So that's how come they broke up in the Third Republic. They decided to join forces and ranks again in the Fourth Republic, and it became the New Patriotic Party. Interesting fact, it was not supposed to be called the New Patriotic Party. It was supposed to be called the National Patriotic Party. But the secretary at the time, the Venerable Bernardo Yao Darocha, BJ Darocha as it's popularly called, that doyen of conveyancing law, decided when he got to the time to register the party that if it's NDC is called National Democratic Congress, there's no way they will be called National Patriotic Party. They will be called the New Patriotic Party. On the spot, he decided to change the name and made it the New Patriotic Party, the NPP. Yeah. So that's about it. Now let's come to today. Yes. Right. There are 10 people contesting. They are the most important people, not the most important people, they are the headliners, but the most important people are the delegates, 961. We'll come to them. So let's run through those who are contesting. First is Kennedy Ejapon. Now, Kennedy Ejapon, he calls himself the Asim Dompim gentleman. That's where, of course, obviously he was born, product of Adesado College, dropped out of Fordham University in the United States. He's a businessman, firebrand, media owner, and he credits himself as one of the top financiers of the party, speaks about how he donated thousands of dollars in the run-up to the 1992 election to support Edu Boindis, speaks about how he went back to school because of NPP's quote-unquote book, Long Attitude, and that he wanted to be a minister when eventually the party won power, so he had to go back to school. So that's essentially about Kennedy Ejapon. His message, he says, patriotism, honesty, and dedication or discipline. That's PhD. Ken can do. That's what he's been trumpeting. He speaks about his record as an entrepreneur in creating jobs, obviously, and that's what he will bring to bear the party. He's also not shied away from criticizing the Akufo-Addo administration. That's one of the things that he's been doing, and he's tipped to be one of the people who would go through. He's from the central region. We've seen that he's just voted, and he's one of the people who has really shaking everything that's going on in relation to this election. So yeah, we're expecting quite a lot from Kennedy Japan today. The second man, Alan John Kojo-Trematin, the one who has he has contested the most, I mean, among all the pack. Now, Alan is from Ejuso and Elmina, right? He's from a very fine line of, political elite in the Ashanti region. Alan's father is the celebrated Dr. Alexander Atayal Trematin, the one who put together the Kumasi Cultural Center, an anthropologist, Oxford-trained anthropologist, the first senior prefect of Adisado College. That's Alan's father. Okay. So Alan was named after the headmaster of Adisado College when his father was there. That man is called Alan John Knight. So that's why he's called Alan John Kojo-Trematin. He went to Adisado College at the age of 9. Yeah, very young age. Then moved from Adisado to Achimota School. Studied law at the University of Ghana, economics as well. And then he went to school at the University of Minnesota. Was one of the youngest managers of Unilever. Rose through the ranks, worked with UNDP, worked with Empretech, and he's reputed as one of the, in the early 90s, he was voted as one of the young emerging leaders in the world by the New York Times. So he's got those credentials. So he's a lawyer, he's a management consultant, and he's an international civil servant. Once upon a time, he was the candidate of Africa for the WTO executive director position, even though he lost out on that. What's Alan's claim to fame in the New Patriotic Party? So in the run-up to the 1996 election, Alan actually wanted to contest to be leader of the party at the time. He was buoyed on by a group called the Young Executives Forum. Had the likes of Cecilia Dapa, had the likes of Kandapa, had the likes of Kwabena J. Japan. These were young professionals who put together their resources and felt that the NDC should not be in government. And their leader was Alan Kojo-Trematin. So, I mean, he was impressed upon not to contest in living up to the tradition of the NPP's conservative blood, that be in the queue and wait till it's your turn. So he didn't contest 96, he didn't contest 98. And he gave his support to President Kufuor. And in 2007, a lot of people say he was the establishment candidate then. And he went on, I mean, we all know how well he did in that election until he decided to step down. So Alan, this is his fourth time. He contested in 2007, 2010, 2014. This is his fourth time. That is Alan John Kojo-Trematin. Big Joe, Jogate, that's the third person. Jogate, MP, still MP for Esikado, Ketan. Jogate went to Fanspem School, trained at the University of Ghana School of Law, and he's a lawyer, a former Attorney General, former Minister for Railway Development in this country. This is the second time he'll be contesting. He contested the first, he's not new to, just like Alan, he's not new to this Special Delegates Congress, this Electoral College. He's been to them before. He managed to scale it in 2014, and he's hoping to do so again today. He's conducted some sort of a submarine campaign on the low, sparsely doing media engagements and media interviews and all of that. So that is Joe Gatti, former Attorney General and former Minister of Railways, and second Deputy Speaker, yes, at the time that we had Doa Jaho as the Speaker of Parliament. Fourth person, one whose candidature shocked a lot of people, Kojo Safuapoku. Kojo Safuapoku is from Kumasi. He's from the famous Opoku transport family in Kumasi, a family that's financed in the NPP from the days of Progress Party, United Party, and the rest. He's a product of Opoku High School, also a product of City University, London, University of London. He's an engineer, and he's also dabbled in business and music promotion. At the point in time, was part of the people who used to run shows in the UK, also promoted a lot of artists and all of that. But, and of course, now he's known famously for his analysis in the energy sector as an engineer, and as the founder of the Institute of Energy Policy and Research. And his decision to contest shocked quite a number of people, because people knew him more as a civil society person and not necessarily an NPP member hardcore to the extent of contesting to be flag bearer. But his message essentially has been about strengthening the party at its base, making the party much more viable, having a stronger party that can function well in government. The next person, Dr. Osu Afriakoto. That's also another NPP royalty. NPP royalty in the sense that he descends from Ochiame Bafuakoto, the Asante Hines linguist, the one behind the NLM, organized the NLM. For law students, the one behind the famous human rights locus classicus Ray Akoto case, where the Ghana School of Law always holds the Ray Akoto lecture. So it's his father who's behind that famous case, which involved him and Geoffrey Bing, Dr. Dankwa arguing for him, and Geoffrey Bing arguing for the government, Nkrumah's government at that point in time, because he was the Attorney General at the point in time. But this is Dr. Akoto. Dr. Akoto is also a product of Opoku High School. Interesting how two Opoku High former students, 4 and 5 years. Dr. Akoto went to University of Ghana as well. He's a proper agricultural economist, trained at the Cambridge University, Trinity Hall. That's where he was. And he is a former member of parliament for Kwadaso in the Ashanti region, former minister for food and agriculture. He cut his teeth as an agricultural professional with the International Coffee Organization. So that's where he worked right after he completed Cambridge with his PhD. So that's Dr. Usu Akoto. He's also advocating for a strong party, wants the party to be strong at its base to be able to ensure that it delivers on its principles, its policies, and its ideas for the transformation of Ghana. That's Dr. Usu Akoto. So we've gone through 5. Out of the 5, 3 of them are from the Ashanti region. I will come back to that. So you have Alan, you have Kojo Opoku, and you have Dr. Akoto.
Okay.
Number 6, Kwabena Ejeye Japan. Kalahari, his close friends call him. Kalahari does it, yes. So Kwabena Japan is also the son of, unfortunately, one of the martyrs of justice in our country, Justice Japan, who was murdered together with Justice Pokusa Akodie and Justice Kwanting Ado. In that day, that it's a blot on the judicial history of this country. But we'll move away from that. He himself has moved on from that and has become a strong person, product of Fanspim School, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's an engineer, and he is a gentleman who actually has been campaigning also for a strong party. He's not shied away from taking shots at the current administration. Many say that has made him quite unpopular in this contest. But of course, we remember that he's also a former General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. He was also Press Secretary under the Indekufuor administration. So that's Kwabena Japan. 7th person, Francis Adenimo. He's also not new to this Super Delegates or Special Delegates Congress. Adenimo is former MP of my constituency, Asante Mampong. He is a product of Navrongo Senior High School and Kumasi High School and Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This is the 2nd time. He's also run a submarine campaign, sparsely doing all of that. Then you have Dr. Kwabena, Dr. Kofi Kunadu Apreku, and he's an economist, former MP for Ofenso, and he was Minister for Trade and Industry under Kufuor. And he's done quite a lot in the party. Recently, he was one of the commissioners at the ECOWAS Commission. He says he wasn't offered any position in the Kufuor government. He's also run on the low quite, but this is he's also a 3rd-time contestant, having contested in '98, having contested previously, and this is 3rd one.
Duke, I'll let you hold on to this one. I mean, let's go into the numbers for today quickly, and we'll come back to giving you the profiles of the rest of the delegates. But let's take a look at who are voting this morning, how many of them, and we'll look at the regional balance as well in terms of numbers for that. So in total, we're told that 961 delegates are voting this morning. Do you?
Yes, 961. And interesting how the votes are distributed. So Ashanti region has the highest number of votes. So in addition to having the highest number of contestants, they also have the highest number of votes. Ashanti has 119. Bono region has 38. Bono East has 33. Ahafo has 30. The Central region has 55. Eastern region has 81. That comes next after the Ashanti region. Yes, so that's the breakdown of the votes. If you go further, you would have other numbers as well. The Greater Accra region has 72 super delegates, as it were. The Northern region has 51. Savannah has 30. Northeast has 30. Upper East 36. Upper West 32. Volta region has 41. I mean, the highest number of concentration of votes will be at the national headquarters. Yes, so that's 204. You have that right there. That's a key ground. That's where all the special branches, the National Council members, Vice President, card-bearing ministers, all of them will be voting. So that's a key ground to watch. 204. Western North 33. Western 46. OT region 30. So that's by way of the breakdown in terms of the delegate numbers.
What are the key areas that we would be looking out for in terms of the regional votes and the numbers?
So Ashanti region is key.
Okay.
Ashanti is key because of the numbers, has 190. So you have that lovely. First part, of course, when it comes to the regions, because you have, this is a mixture of, different categories of voters. Obviously, it's the key ground, as I mentioned, 204. And it's not a homogeneous group. You have National Council members, you have, you have National Council members, you have ministers, you have special branches, you have the external branches, all of them voting here. So you have 204. Then Ashanti has 119. It also has the highest number of contestants, as I keep saying, 6 out of 10. Eastern region has 81. Greater Accra has 72. And the Central region has 55. Yes.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Duke, for these details. And maybe we can go into a bit of the history. We'll hold on to that. Let's come to Dr. Asante and, of course, Mr. Musa, and find out a lot more about the situation, because there's also a history to the Super Delegates Conference. And like you mentioned earlier, in 2007, where there were 17 delegates, there was a need to cut down on the numbers and also to control and curb the issue of votes buying as well. Dr. Asante, I'll come to you first of all, and thank you for this. We'll come to you shortly. But if you look at all the challenges that they were looking to address at the time when they had to now reform their constitution and bring some reforms into the party, do you think that we've seen those changes happen within the party?
Bella, thanks for the opportunity. Certainly so. We have seen great, changes, and it has improved the party and as well as its machinery. If you look at the initial process where we didn't have this super delegates and all that. There were all manner of problems that confronted the party. But today, they are breathing a sigh of relief, because you have this a small body of people who are what constitute the super delegate conference, who are going to elect the 5 people for the final showdown. If you go to the literature, you come across a certain gentleman called Hamilton. And Hamilton says that if you have electoral college, one of the things that it does is to make sure that it sieves out in terms of selection, the best material for the people, so as they can make an informed choice at the end of the day. Why is this so? Because that small group of people are people who are very much, in touch with those who are contesting, and they know them too well, than leaving it to a general body of people to decide. So that body that the party introduced, for me, is a good thing, because it's going to sieve the real leaders of the party, and then hand them over to another body, which is, of course, a little bit, bigger in terms of size than this one. So all in all, we have seen that it has worked. Some of the rules that they've also introduced have really gone a long way to regulate the conduct of the people.
I'll let you hold on. I'll let you hold on shortly. We're told that the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has arrived at the headquarters of the NPP to cast his vote. And so we're crossing over to Roland Walker now to give us some updates on that. Papa Ro. Roland, can you hear us? All right, so like I mentioned earlier, the Vice President, we're told, has arrived at the headquarters to cast his vote. And I believe that probably around this time he may have cast his vote. We're trying to connect with Roland Walker, who is on the grounds, to give us some updates. And of course, I'm sure he'll get to speak to him as well to pick his thoughts. We'll come back to that, but maybe Dr. Asante will come back to you to finish up on your point.
So if you look at the rules that they've introduced, they've gone a long way to improve the conduct of the election, and also guide the conduct of the people who take part in the election. If you have a whole lot of people taking part, you realize that issue of bribery, issue of inducement and all that. But when you have a small group of people, it's easy to monitor, so as to have the best of behavior to ensure that the election moves on smoothly. These things are necessary. They are institutions, and without institution, no political system survives. So for me, it's a good thing.
All right, let's go back to Roland Walker. He's speaking to Anthony Kabu now. Let's hear what he has to say.
After no, way bet me reflected 4th November.
But you know, way back, you know,
all right.
All important question as to whether the way the ballots go today would affect the November 4 elections. He says, well, let's wait, you know, and see how today goes, and then we can talk about, you know, what happens on November 4. But that's also a very important question that many people have raised. I mean, we've heard from some key campaigners for the various delegates saying that how today's results go will go a long way to affect who eventually becomes a flag bearer for the NPP. What do you say to that?
Not necessarily the case, in the sense that today, look at the people who are going to be the delegates for this important exercise, a little over 900. Yeah. And then you look at the final one, there are a lot. So it tells you that as they are graduating to the last end, you have more people coming in here. So yes, you can be in here, you will top the chart, but at the end of the day, events can take a different turn when you get to the final destination. That is the November 4th one. So it's not necessarily the case. One of the reasons that also explain this point that I'm talking about is the fact that there is going to be a lot of dynamics. If you people see that, yes, what the perception that they have about a particular candidate they describe as an establishment candidate. If the status quo remains, then you are likely to have tactics such as alliances. And I have already, as a student of politics, put my ears on the ground, and people have started talking to people. And then if push comes to shove, you are likely to have alliances and all that, and that will change the whole political chemistry of the whole process. Okay. So we are in for an interesting contest, and then the final one in November. So it's not necessarily the case. And then right from here, you will see those who will fall out, their desire to support others, to fight those that they believe that they are the enemies of the open society, in quotes. Yeah. It's also going to change. So it's a whole mix of factors that are going to brought to the fore, and it will change everything. Well, so it's not necessarily the case that if you emerge tops at the end of the day, that is what giving that the November 4th one you are going to lead. It is not so. It's not so.
Mr. Musadankwa, I mean, I want to hear from you because Global Info Analytics has done some, study on this matter. And in fact, as it stands now, it says of course, the Global Info Analytics put out that Dr. Bawumia was going to lead the flag bearership race by some 33%, while we'll have Alan Chamantin with 30%, and then followed by, of course, Kennedy Japan. Give us some insight into that and how this could also, in the long run, have an effect on the Super Delegates Conference today.
All right. The numbers are a bit different if you look at it critically. We have the views of all voters, which means including NDC, NPP, floating voters, and the rest. And that's the numbers you have quoted. Yeah. Now, on that score, we see that Bawumia slightly is ahead among all voters in the last poll that we did. Now, if we come closer home to NPP delegates, which I think might be a proxy to what is happening today. Now, in that contest, the last survey we did, we had Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on 34, almost 35% of support among NPP delegates. And Alan was on 28% at the time. Then you have Kennedy Japan on 12.5%. Then you look at another bunch of 15% saying that they are undecided, and 9% said they knew who they would vote for, they won't tell us. Now, if you look at the rest of the pack, they were below 1%, all of them put together. Now, if you look at what is going to happen today, as Doc said, it has nothing to do with what happened in November. Okay. Now, these are a group of people who do not represent the actual NPP delegates who are going to vote on November 4th. But that group on November 4th is a very diverse group across all ranks and file of the party. And that population is quite huge. So you can't take this 961 to represent the views of those who are really going to make the decision on November 4th. What would happen today is that if the vice president does not win in a landslide, as people have been saying.
For today?
For today. Okay. Then that will be a blow to him in terms of the messaging.
Why him in particular?
Because he's the establishment candidate, quote unquote.
Okay.
And these people who are going to vote are largely part of the establishment. They're the cream of the cream and top of the party. So if there's any kind of disturbances in today's election, it could mean that there's a revolt within the establishment against the establishment within the party. So we expect that if the thought is right, it should win landslide. If it doesn't happen that way, then it simply means that the people are having a second thought, and that could demoralize some of his teams on the ground. But yet, the battle is still on November 4th. That's where it will be fought. And I don't believe this one would kill anybody's spirit going forward.
At all?
No.
Well, interesting they're saying landslide, because there's also another poll that was conducted. It was brought out on August 21. It was a survey by Outcomes International Ghana and Center for Sustainable African Development Initiatives in the UK. And they had projected that Dr. Bawumia would win the NPP Special Delegates Conference by 72%. So that's close to what you're saying, that if he does win by a landslide, then it won't be surprising. But if he doesn't, then that could be a major problem. What about the likes of Mr. Alan Kojotra-Manting and, of course, Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, who have also become like the main contenders in this competition?
Alan knew his challenge with the superdelegate. He knew he wasn't going to perform so well among them because of who they are.
When you say who they are, what exactly do you mean?
These are government appointees and then high-level party executives who normally wine and dine with the government machinery. And naturally, Alan may do well, but he's not going to do as well as he would have loved to if they were ordinary party members. So we expect the delegates to really throw their hats for the vice president because of who he is and because of the work he does and how he interacts with these people regularly compared to other candidates. Kennedy Ejapong, by virtue of who he is, his stature in the party and what he's done in the party is what probably will put him there. Because in terms of his interaction with these people, it's probably not as much. Because he's not a national party executive that will go around meeting these people before this contest. And then also as a minister, like Alan and other people, they will meet these people when they are performing their duties as ministers. Kennedy wouldn't. So he will be there because of who he is and probably because he's too big to be left out.
Because he's too big and not because of his messaging, not because he has a better rapport with his
message he has is much more strong in the grassroots than within the superdelegate.
Okay.
He resonates well across the country in terms of what message he's sending across. And that one is really catching eye. But I don't think that message is very popular among the top brass of the party and the government appointees, not at all.
Dr. Sasansi, do you agree to this?
I have a different view. Different view in the sense that if you look at Kennedy Ejapong, he cut across all the shades and opinions within the party. He's among the top brass. He also, relates very well with the rank and file, and he appeals to the youth, who are the main drivers at the end of the day within the party. So he cuts across all the sectors of the NPP political system. I believe that, at this point in time, what the party needs is that they want a candidate who is very much disciplined. Some people have attributed the poor performance of this government to indiscipline, financial indiscipline. And we have seen in how they've mismanaged the economy, always want to hide behind the excuse of what? Russia-Ukraine crisis. That I admit, as a student of politics, I do, that those issues within the international system had, effect on our economy. But there were things that also government did not do right, and that also contributed effectively towards where we are today. So you need somebody who will ensure that whatever we generate here in terms of resources is put into effective use. So at this point in time, delegates are going to look for a candidate like that. Kennedy Ejapong is one of such candidates.
Okay.
Alan Kojotra-Manting, yes, it's close to that, but Boakye Agyarko is also an important a variable in this type of equation. Yes, we need somebody who is also what? Who is bold and has the tenacity to withstand all manner of pressure. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction that Boakye Jarko stands tall in this regard. We have seen instances where he even would not grant certain requests of president when he sent people to him and when he was in the ministry and all that. You can see that, you know, attitude in the likes of what? Alan Chiramathing, in the likes of, Boakye Jarko, okay. Then Kennedy Ejapon, and then others within the party. Kwabreje Ejapon.
I was going to ask about him because he's also, you know, grounded his campaign around discipline.
Yes.
You know, and so I was surprised that his name didn't pop up when you're talking about.
He's one of the 5 that I have put down.
Okay.
Who will cross the Rubicon to the final stage.
One of the top 5.
Yes.
So give us your top 5 at this
My
moment.
top 5 will be Boakye Jarko, Alan Chiramathing, Kennedy Ejapon, Kwabene Ejapon, Bawumia.
Okay.
They're the 5, not in a special order, but this are people who I believe that will gain the mandate of the people to be able to gravitate to the last stage, which is the finals of finals, November 4. Why am I saying this? If you look at these gentlemen, I must also admit that the remaining 5 also are material worth considering. But I believe that for this context, these people have more of the things that the people require than they have. Okay. And it's on this basis that I believe that this 5 will definitely make it to the final stage. If you look at Bawumia, for instance, there is a whole lot of talk about him that he's not a good economist and all that. I disagree, and I disagree vehemently.
Why so?
We can play politics with it and all that, but from where I come from, or where I sit, he's a fine economist. There's no doubt about that. As to how we have arrived here, as being the chairman of economic management team and being part and parcel of this government and where the economy is, he is the one to explain, not me. Yes, because I believe that there is something that maybe is militating against what he's capable of doing. But aside that,
which could be what exactly? Because he's the chairman.
Yes, you can.
What possible factors could make it more difficult for him to operate as the chairman of the management
when we talk about public policy,
which is
every economic policy is a public policy, and public policy emanates from the executive, the president. It is approved by what? Cabinet, and then it goes through what? The economic management team and the ministry which would implement it. Yeah, the vice president, what can you do? You will suggest something, all right, but remember what comes to his desk comes from what? The president and cabinet, and then it comes to management. The management will look at it, add and subtract, and it gets to what? The ministry for implementation, all right? So you realize that it has a very little role to play in here. You suggest something, but whatever you suggest should not be at variance with the dreams and aspirations of the president. Otherwise, the policy is defeated and all that. So there could be those factors. It could also be that he suggests a number of things and nobody will listen to that. That we have seen in Ghanaian politics is not new. All right. So these are a few things that on top of my head I can bring to the fore. But that aside, you also realize that the man has come out with a lot of innovative programs. There's no doubt about that. You're talking about issue of what? Electronic, things that he has introduced. E-what. It has really improved the fortunes of this party. There's no doubt about that.
Has it?
Yes, it has.
You're not concerned about what people are saying on the ground, that even though some of these things have been introduced, they really haven't fixed the problem?
Yes, but we have take, for instance, issue of these, electronic services and all that. Government has raked in a lot of resources in there, all right? But the issue is that how effective have they put the resources is another question, $1 million question for them. Are you with me? So, yes, you have also seen him in other come out with other innovative programs and all that. So Bawumia, yes, he has what it takes to be able to lead the party. But what will go against him, one of the things is that people see him as an establishment candidate. Remember that militated against Alan in 2007, where people believed that a vote for Alan was going to be what a vote for President Kufuor, who will be on pension at that time. The same thing is going to be play out here, that people will look at him and say that once you're establishment candidate, a vote for you is a vote for Nana Akufo-Addo, who is going to on pension 2025, January 8, that about. All right. So these are some of the things. But I believe that his party has a better team to be able to go around these things. Because in political communication, whenever you are going for campaign, it's not the message that you are going to churn out, but you are looking at what your opponent will say about you, and then the ideas that you also will bring to counter that. That makes it an effective political campaign. And I'm sure those who are in the campaign team have what it takes to be able to offer these services for him. Look at the issue, this person, Mr. Boakye Jakon. Jakon, people have very little knowledge of his contribution towards the party, but I can say without fear of contradiction, as a student of politics, somebody who is close to the party, from where I said that he has contributed immensely. There was at a point in time that they needed finances from the party. He was, paying members within the party headquarters. And when he was working as a deputy CEO of the Bank of New York, he did a lot for the party from there. And the party members will always remember this. And remember that when we are dealing with elections of this nature, they always count on people who in difficult times have really helped the party.
Well, let me just quickly announce that there seemed to be some misunderstanding in the Upper West region. We're told that Kennedy Ejapong is saying that his agent has been sacked. And so we'll be crossing over to George shortly so he can give us the update on this matter. In actual fact, let's take a look at Kennedy fuming at this point. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
This country, President Akufo-Addo, member will show down. Vice President, member will show down. So, Mama chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you bet? What do you bet in your best? Yes, me challenge President Akufo-Addo anytime. In this country, President Akufo-Addo, member will show down. Vice President, member will show down. So, Mama chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you bet? What do you bet in your best? Yes, me challenge President Akufo-Addo anytime.
And that is Honorable Kennedy Ejapong. He's actually #1 on the ballot sheet, and he's basically saying that, he's going to give the president and the vice president a showdown because his agent has been chased into a room. I mean, we're hoping that some of these issues will not come up. But Dr. Dankwa, let me come to you because I see you smiling about this. I'm not sure.
I wasn't smiling. I was just giggling.
Oh, you are giggling. Okay. I'm not sure how you are taking this, but like I said, we're hoping that things like this would not come up. But already, about 2 hours into the voting, and we're hearing things like this.
It's very unfortunate. I mean, coming from Kennedy Ejapong, very formidable and very vocal, and you can hear what he was saying. I just hope that they can resolve it so that we'll have peaceful election at the end of the day. You don't want to give people excuse that they have been unfairly treated in this contest, and I think it's not necessary at this stage.
But there have already been allegations here and there about camping of some delegates. I mean, I heard from one of the senior members of the team saying that there's really no need to camp these delegates because these are high-ranking profile people. They do not need the monies of these delegates or, some favors in order to cast their vote for them or against them. But for some reason, especially from Honorable Kennedy Ejapong's camp, they keep reiterating that some members of, the voting elite, the delegates, have been camped, and this could go against them.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if, at this stage, this is not the main contest, really. I would expect you to do a very decent campaign, just your message out why you should be the candidate for the NPP and why not that person or that person. I think that should have been the approach. Using money in this kind of campaign at this level really is unnecessary. For me, if we haven't learned anything at all, we should look at it as enough and learn lessons from it and then make sure that we are being decent. These guys are top-ranked party executives and appointees. Camping them absolutely uncalled for, if that is the case.
But the whole idea of re-engineering the constitution to introduce a superdelegates conference, we're told one of them was because of, vote buying. It was meant to curb it, which is why I asked the earlier question that if we're coming back to another superdelegates conference and these allegations are coming up, have we really resolved the matters within the party?
It's still going to persist because us and money is, it's something else. Elsewhere, where you have a large pool of contestants, there will be a poll that will tell where each person is in the poll. And they naturally fizzle out because maybe the poll numbers doesn't give them any hope of surviving. But in this case, in this country, there's no poll to guide them that, oh, this is where you are. And then look, from this number, I don't think it's worth pursuing. So people are just doing this on the blind side. They're not actually sure where their support is. So they think they can do something, so they keep going. It's a very fine move that they brought in terms of keeping the number to 5. But I think a lot more thought should go into it after this superdelegate and see what changes could be made to it and then make sure that, it's fit for purpose. It was done maybe about 10 years ago and needs to be refined, probably based on new evidence of what is happening now.
Let's take a look at, some of these delegates or some of these actually candidates who took part in the Superdelegates Conference previously. How did their performance in the Superdelegates Conference go a long way to affect how they performed even in the national flag bearership elections?
If you look at the first Superdelegate Conference that was held in 2012 or 2014,
yes.
Those who took part in that election are completely different from those who are voting today, mostly. There have been new national executives. So they are not the same demographic that we're looking at. So things would have moved. And the fact that you did well last time doesn't mean that you will do well this time around. You look at people who took part was Delegates, Apraku, and Adainimo. Right. And for me, on the top 5, Delegates is there, Adainimo is not there.
Your top 5, Delegates is there?
Yes, my top 5 Delegates is there.
Okay.
And Afriya Koto is there as my top 5.
Okay, give us your top 5 first before
my top 5, I'm looking at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Alan Chirematin, Kennedy Ohina Japan, Afriya Koto, and Delegates.
Is this in order of how you think the votes will...
the first 3 will be in that order. If the order changes, I'll be very shocked. Because from the poll we did of NPP delegate, that's the same order we've seen.
Okay. But if Afriya Koto is going to be in there, Delegates would be in there.
That's what our initial poll says. And our analysis based on the interaction with government machinery, these people have better chance of interacting with the people who are going to vote today than the rest of the pack. And they haven't run a campaign that is entirely anti-establishment. You remember the delegates who are going to vote today are those who are enjoying from the current government. And if you run a rebellion campaign against them,
it could go against you.
Yes, it will go against you. Because they are not the general party people who may be happy with what else people are saying about what is going on wrong. But these guys are people who are benefiting from the current system. So if you run a rebellion campaign in that kind of group, it will backfire.
Then how is Honorable Kennedy Japan still in there?
That's what I mentioned, that he is too big to be left out.
That's the only reason why he's going to be in there.
Think, and also he does things in the party. So that's why he's quite popular, much more popular in the party rank and file than in the superdelegate. But superdelegate, they will keep him there because there won't be peace.
If he doesn't make it, there won't be peace?
No, there won't be peace.
Really? That's quite emphatic, you say.
No, I think, strategically he must be there because, you see, you must be able to have kind of unity at the end of the whole contest. That nobody should be given excuse to have any reason not to support the winning candidate. And if you treat Kennedy Japan in a way that he feels he's been unfairly treated and he explodes, the sky will be the limit.
You were talking about, of course, and I asked you earlier that for those who took part in it, how do you think, based on how they fared in the national elections, how do you think this will go? You're saying that the demographics has changed completely, and so things might be different.
Yes.
So whatever happens today, like you said earlier, will not affect what happens on November 4th at all?
Absolutely. Just that it will give some people some bragging right, just for the optics. And for example, if His Excellency does very well, extremely well, it will give him the optics and the bragging right. But also it will go to cement the belief that he is the establishment candidate.
Which some have denied.
Well, but it will show. I mean, you can deny, but you know, in politics, you deny even when the truth is there. People deny it. But so when he wins on that scale of landslide, it goes to affirm the belief that he is the establishment candidate. But if he doesn't too, it could be a problem. So he is in a very hard place.
What would you say are some of the unique strengths and weaknesses of some of these delegates, or candidates more like? Let me not even interchange the words. So the candidates, based on their strengths and weaknesses, that would also inure to their benefit.
For the vice president, I mean, he's served the party very well, no doubt about it. He's played a very pivotal role in where the party has been from 2012 all the way till today. And he's very hard-working. The party organizes that. And also, I think it's a nice guy, nice person. I know him personally.
Okay.
Very nice person to work with. That is his strength, but he has a lot of baggage that is really tied to the government at this stage. And that has been his biggest problem. Now, how he performs today, and in fact, you could see his performance differ depending upon which region that comes through.
Okay.
Where Naro is very strong, he will do very well because he is tied with to the hip with the president. Where Naro is not very well popular, he will dip.
Okay.
That I think pattern would happen.
So areas like what, the Eastern region,
yeah,
will do well?
Will do well. Even Eastern region is divided into a number of blocks. The Abokwa area, he will do very well.
Okay.
When you leave the Abokwa area and come to other part of Eastern region, the numbers changes. It becomes Allen and Kennedy. So it's not like one big color across Eastern. It differs based on the constituencies that you're looking at.
What about the Ashanti region, which has the highest?
Ashanti region will be split. In fact, Kennedy and Allen are kind of spoiling themselves there. They are kind of encroaching on each other's turf. And if they don't take care, Baumia could win Ashanti region by a whisker.
Well, please hold on for me. George is on standby to speak to us, to give us some more insight into that earlier tape we played where Honorable Kennedy Ejapon was fuming over some allegations concerning one of his agents. George, thank you for joining us. Can you update us? What exactly is happening? Why is Honorable Kennedy Ejapon fuming over that allegation?
Well, I'm coming to you live from the University of Cape Coast, and this is the central regional venue for the NPP 55 Delegates Conference. And 55 delegates are expected to cast their votes, and one of the aspirants has cast his vote. And so after 20 minutes after casting his vote, he was so furious, and he says an agent of his in the Upper West region was attacked and driven away from the venue, and he's being chased towards the hotel. So there's an allegation that we have asked whether that is true. We are yet to confirm, and the extent of verification of that very important. But I must say it's a peaceful, exercise here, and even the aspirant upon has said that he wishes that the experience, the come, I must say, the peace that has been experienced here should be replicated in the other, 16 regions, so that in entirety, this very whole, conference would not be marred with any sort of violence. And also, I spoke to former gender minister Cynthia Morrison, and she said she also sees this to be a peaceful election, and that this is the victory of the NPP. This is the start of the victory of the NPP come the general elections. And she was really worried about the fact that some of the colleagues, openly declared their support to some of the aspirants. She says that is not necessary. And if it was necessary, there was no need for them to vote. But I just declared the winner on social media or even on television. So it's not advisable for the colleagues to come out to declare. But at the end of the day, the unity that they deserve to break the eight and give their support to any candidate that comes out as the flag bearer coming back.
I see. Well, thank you so much. And has Honorable Kennedy Ejapon left? Because I see some vehicles leaving the venue at the moment.
That is the fire service on standby.
Okay.
Fire national service. Should there be any, untoward incident regarding fire, I'm sure they'll be there to give prompt.
Okay. I was asking about Honorable Kennedy Ejapon if he's still on the premises or has left. Okay, unfortunately, he cannot hear us clearly, but that's George from the University of Cape Coast giving us some updates on the matter, and we'll keep borrowing into it to find out exactly what the real situation is and what can be done. But Mr. Musa, I'm coming back to you to land on the uniqueness of these candidates.
Yes, so Bawumia, certainly Vice President gives him a huge advantage in terms of who he is, popularity, access to these delegates through his normal work. And then you come to Alan. Alan has been part of the for government for some time, Kufuor's time, to Nanado's time. He just resigned last January or so. Yeah. So he would have otherwise have interaction with these people, either at the party executives, regional or national levels, during his work as a minister. So they would have probably encountered him one-on-one before. So he has better chance with these guys. Then you come to Kennedy. Kennedy would not have interaction with these people because of the nature of his work. Member of Parliament, a businessman. But he is too big elephant in the room not to let him be part of the race. Okay. And with regard to Akoto Afriye, it's the same logic I'm employing here. Former Minister of Agriculture for 6 years. He's been to every region in this country as part of his work. When he goes there, party executives meet him. When he goes to constituency, they meet him. So he would have interaction with them. So is Jogati. On the same basis, former Kufuor Minister, Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Deputy Speaker, Railway Development Minister. So those people are the ones that have regular contact with some of these people who are going to vote. Okay. And it's on that basis, and also just to pose our poll on top of this, which shows the same order. That's why I'm saying this. I haven't done any poll on this super delegate, but I'm saying that from the analysis and intelligence we have picked, this is what we believe could be the true situation.
Dr. Sasanti, so Mr. Jogati did not make it onto your list, neither did Dr. Afriye Akoto, even though he's made it onto Mr. Musa's Danqua's list. What are your reasons why those two may not make it into the top 5? Yes,
and I must also say here that I have not gone to the field to pick any data to do this, but what I'm doing is born out of qualitative analysis. Okay. Right. If you take Dr. Afriye Akoto, for instance, he's a gentleman who has served his country well. He has served his party well. But you realize that if you put your ears on the ground, he was doing well in the ministry, but the party, getting closer to the party, all right, you don't hear his name that much, But this type of contest, you need to have a closer relationship with those who are going to elect you, right? You need to have also done something that remain indelible in their minds, all right? And if you look at all these things, you realize that Dr. Akoto doesn't meet the threshold relative to what we are talking about. Okay. It is true that he comes from a very strong family, Bafo Akoto's son and the rest of them. But going over days of NLM politics and all that, changes have occurred within the party system. And now there are new things. If you look at his message, even though the bulk of his message centers on agriculture, which is a good thing, but I am looking at it from another perspective, that is that the only problem that we have in this country, that everything can be done through what? Agriculture. Yeah. There are other problems that we have that confront us, like political problems, economic problems, social problems, and of course, we can leave out what? Agriculture. So he has not diversified his message to really resonate with people who are really looking for that political John the Baptist who will be able to see things ahead of time and direct the party. Remember that this government is in crisis in the sense that, look at the economy now. Research has shown that if you are looking for the factors that influence voter choices, the economy is number one, right? So I would have loved the former minister to be able to chip in some ideas about how he will be able to turn the country's economy around. Okay. Because like it or take it or leave it, we are in a very difficult economic situation, and any government or any aspirant must be able to address his mind to some of the economic challenges that we have. All right. So this is something that is missing. And then remember, the delegates are looking for people.
I just want you to hold on. Sorry to cut you. But Godwin Asidiba is on standby from the Western region to update us on how voting is going there. Well, Eastern region, pardon me. Godwin, thank you for joining us as well. What can you report?
All right, Bella. So it's been a calm moment here at the Koforidua Technical School where we know that the New Patriotic Party is hosting its crucial delegate conference. We know this event marks a pivotal moment for the party's journey towards the 2024 elections, and amidst the charged atmosphere of the delegate conference here at the Koforidua Technical secondary school, a sudden incident actually happened here which sparked a moment of chaos. The tensions fled as a ballot sheet fell on the ground, prompting a flurry of reactions from some delegates present, including David Ansopoku, who is the MP for the Imprayasu constituency. But the party officials and organizers were quickly to move and ensure that there were the issues were resolved. So at the moment, as you can clearly see, the calm has been installed here. And as the sun begins to set on this historic day for the NPP, the atmosphere here is palpable with anticipation from a lot of the delegates here. I've been speaking with delegates throughout the day, and there's been a unanimous sense of purpose. They express their commitment to selecting a candidate who embodies the party's core values and resonates with the electorates and brings a fresh perspective to Ghana's political landscape. So for some of the delegates that I have been speaking to here include Seth Ejeba, who is the former MP for Nkoko constituency. I've also been speaking to Osei Bonsuamwa, who is the MP for Ekuapem South, David Ansa Opoku, MP for Imprayasu constituency, Boachi Ejaku, who is also the NPP presidential aspirant, who actually expressed confidence on being part of the five that they are looking at voting for to be selected for the final voting. And we know that voting has officially begun. We are expecting 81 delegates to vote here in the Eastern region at the Koforidua Sectec senior high school, and security measures have been significantly heightened at the voting premises through to the entrance inside to the premises as well. We know that the atmosphere is characterized by a strong presence of security personnel, underscoring the importance of maintaining order and ensuring a smooth voting process. Well, yeah, so we will continue to give you updates as it unfolds here at the Koforidua Sectec school, Bella.
All right.
But before I go, Information Minister Kojo Okonkoma has just arrived, and I'm sure he should be going into cast his ballot soon. But we'll get to speak to him and also get to know what he makes of this particular, voting process and update subsequently.
Well, we're looking forward to that, Godwin Asidiba. Thank you so much for the update. He's coming to us from the Eastern region, where we're told the Information Minister has just arrived and will be casting his ballot. Fingers crossed we'll get to speak to him and bring you the updates on that. But Dr. Sasante, I wanted to go into the Jogate weaknesses as well and why he would not make it.
Yeah, Dr. Akutu first.
Well, yes, I thought you had wrapped up with him.
Yes.
Okay.
There is something little I want to add. If you look at all the good things that Dr. Akutu has done, which will really influence the voters to vote for him, there are things that, one of the things that is going to affect him negatively, even though that is not his fault, is that he's seen as a friend of the president. And that if the establishment candidate, phenomenon, is anything to go by, people will not trust him. They will believe that a vote for Dr. Koto will be a vote for, by extension, to the president. All right? That if push comes to shove, I believe that even if there are alliances, I believe that if what we are saying is true, what we are hearing is true, that there is an establishment candidate, I believe strongly that if there is a need for alliance, he will opt out and join the Bawumia camp.
Which is why they will not vote for him, because they'll feel like they're wasting the vote?
Yeah, they would think that, obviously we'll go and join forces with Bawumia, so he will not. If you continue, if that is true, and he stays within even the alliance bloc, some people may see him as a mole who will be in there and be sending messages to the Bawumia camp. Yes, there are a whole lot of dynamics in there. So, but he's a fine gentleman. He has served his country well and all that. Within the party, there is something that is missing that really the party is looking for. Remember, at this point in time, the party is looking for somebody who is firm and who can put his foot down. And that one of the problems of Nana Akufo-Addo government is that he has not been firm, right? He has really put emphasis on loyalty. People who are loyal to him are people he engages and people who have walked the talk of the president or the government. But firm on the ground, no. So at this point in time, they want people with that quality, and Dr. Koto doesn't fit into that type of description.
Is that what they're really looking out for? Because they're also talking about strategy.
Yeah, strategy will come.
Which is why some of them are throwing their support behind the likes of Dr. Bawumia. Those who are looking for some form of change are saying that, well, we're going with Alan as well. I've not come across anyone who has said that we're looking for fairness necessarily.
There are a whole lot of things, but if you look at why are we in this crisis, they will tell you for one thing about the president is that he believes in loyalty. But remember, you look for what? Competence first before loyalty.
Okay.
Somebody can be so loyal to you, all right, but he will be what? The worst incompetent person you can see. Are you with me? Right. We need somebody who will be financially what? Disciplined. And that is not to say that the president is not financially disciplined, but we are saying that the people who are managing the offices on his behalf, all right, look at the mess we find ourselves. Have we been able to ensure prudence in terms of our financial management? Look at the Auditor General report. Look at all the financial dealings of this country. We realize that there's a problem here. It tells you that there's something wrong. So you need somebody who can be able to generate the resources. You'll be firm and apply it effectively.
But the top three have been members of this same government.
That is your top three.
No. I'm not saying my top three, but of course, if you look at even the two of you, and of course, the names that we have mentioned, and across the board, many have said that the likely top three would be Dr. Bawumia, Mr. Alan Kojo Chemanting, and also Honorable Kennedy Japan. These are people who have said, and at least one of them still serves under President Akufo-Addo's administration. So whatever negativity comes to President Akufo-Addo also affects them. And many have asked the question that you were in that government, you couldn't really make any significant change to better the lives of people. What makes you think that this time around, if you decide to come out as your own, people would vote for you?
Yeah, that's why I disagree with you with the top three. I do not believe in that theory.
Okay.
All right, because at this point in time, it's inconsequential. All that you need to be part of what? That selection of 5. So the top 3, top 4 doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Where you move from is where it's important, the final lap. Just be part of what? This team, and then get to the final this thing. But the top 3 that people are talking about, yes, the issue you talk about is a reality that you've been in the government. What is it under your sleeve that you could not share with the government? For which reason you believe that today, when you are on your own, you'll be able to do it better? Yeah. That's $1 million question that awaits them. And that is why the people are looking for what? Changes. And the changes is that they need somebody who would be financially disciplined.
Okay.
To be able to ensure. We generate a lot of resources here, but the way we manage them is a problem. Look at resources that we get from the little things that we do in this country. And then we really call the IMF to come in to go and what? Get $3 billion. Transparency International, GII, has told us that every year we lose $3 billion through what? Corruption. If we are able to what? Block corruption alone, we'll be able to what? Deal with this problem. Look at the corruption report against this government. The government has not done well in terms of what? It fights against corruption. Transparency International report is there for everybody to see. And it's clear. Auditor General report is there for everybody to see. Okay. So you need somebody who will look at the evils of this regime, such as what? Financial indiscipline, the issue of corruption, and then how to ensure effective utilization of what? State resources. Okay. You are building cathedral. Something, yes, it's a good project, but it is coming at the wrong time, where people are really suffering to make ends meet. You are building cathedral. Where's the cathedral now?
Okay.
A white elephant.
Well, let's go to the Ashanti region. The weather is not exactly favoring the voting today, as we're told that it's raining cats and dogs. And there's some tension brewing within the region as well. Evans Inkom will give us all the updates on that. Evans, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Bella. So as you can see, I mean, Riley hit the nail around the spot. The weather is not very favorable to this particular exercise. It has been raining heavily here. Intermittently, it does a bit, but it just goes up. So what is happening now is that the exercise has halted briefly because of the fact that some of the materials are not water friendly. So especially the ballot papers and all of that. So the process has halted briefly, waiting for the rains to subside a bit so they can continue with the process. So it's pretty calm here.
Well, very calm, but unfortunately there rains. Have there been any significant individuals who have come in to cast their ballots that you can update us on?
Well, some members of parliament that have been here to cast their ballots. For instance, not too long ago, the Minister of Education, Dr. Osei Odichum, was here to cast his ballot, but he came at the wrong time, the time that tension was boiling here because the regional youth organizer had publicly advertised his cast ballot, which contravenes the very regulation that was set before this particular exercise. But the police, were swift to intervene to at least avert some level of escalation. Nonetheless, there were some fracas here and there, but they were able to douse any flames.
Okay.
So now the relatively calm as far as this particular place is concerned.
What exactly caused the tension?
Well, he actually advertised cast ballots, and of course, some of the polling agents felt that no, that contravenes the very regulation that was set by the election committee, and no other person than the regional youth organizer, Sapo Patrick Raphael.
Yeah.
But like I said, the police was able to come in to douse any escalations.
As it's still raining, are there conversations to move the voting center to another place?
Well, it doesn't look like, but even if they will have to do that, I don't think that is going to be much of a problem because just a few seconds you enter the law school auditorium, and that place is quite spacious for exercise of such nature. They have opted to do it outside, but in an event that the rains will not subside, they will have to work within the framework of time. Then they will have to move into the law auditorium. That shouldn't be a difficult decision to make.
I see. Well, Ivan Senkum, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll come back to you again for some more updates on that. He's speaking to us from the Ashanti region. It is raining heavily, and well, a few tensions here and there, but he says that has been doused at the moment. So we're grateful for that. But Dr. Sasante, so going straight into Joe Gate and his issues, and then I'll go to Dr. Musa.
Yeah, Joe Gate has been a fine gentleman. He has served his party well, and he has also contributed his quota. But you realize that he's not very much known within the rank and file of the party. Yes, because of the position that he held. Top minister. Remember, during Kufuor's time, he was Attorney General, a big portfolio that you will not be able to find the chance to relate with the rank and file of the party. That those in politics, the position that you occupy, if you don't take care, can also be a disadvantage for you, because you will not even have the time. You may want to delegate authority to some people, but every delegation needs supervision, and your main job will not even give you the chance to be able to do that. Right. He, as an attorney, when he was Attorney General, he wouldn't have much time to be able to relate to the party rank and file, party foot soldiers, and the rest of them. Look at when he became Minister for Railway and all that. So you realize that his attachment to the party, yes, at the top it will be there. But among the rank and file, what are his messages that he's churning around? We haven't seen, because the critical issues that we are looking at today, I've not heard him talk about them. Issue of competence. It's critical. Issue of discipline. All right. Loyalty is there. The party people, they are looking for somebody who is loyal. But we want ideas. What are the ideas he has thrown? He has thrown in a few of these things, but these are some of the things that will go against him. Yeah.
All right.
And let me touch on something which Dr. Dankwa said.
I'll let you hold on, please. Sorry. Right. We have Noble Crosby Annan, who is at the Greater Accra Voting Center at the moment, and he also has some updates for us. Crosby, what can you tell us?
Right. Bella, thank you so much for allowing us to join us. Here at the Greater Accra Regional Voting Center, the process that began at exactly 9 o'clock, I must tell you, has been extremely smooth. We understand close to 50 delegates have voted already. The number we're expecting at the end of the day is 72. 72 delegates are expected to vote at the center. Already we've seen some members of parliament join us here at the voting center along. Also, some ministers, we're also seeing the foreign affairs minister. It's also seen the member of parliament for Ayawaso Westward Libya, and Sarah Malasan also seen each of that. As well as some more MPs have already been here who were supposed to cast their votes yesterday. They came and they did that. We've also cited the party's national chairman of the party has also been here to supervise the election also, plus the presence of the Greater Craft Regional Minister Henry Koke. He has also been here. He came here.
All right, thank you so much, Noble Crosby Annan. But also, Alan Chematin's Director of Communications, Yabua Bing Asamoah, says that they will reject the Northeast votes because their agents have been reportedly assaulted. Roland will give us the updates.
Agent is in the hospital, and they were showing the vote because they were voting for the vice president. So they'll be asked to show the vote.
If they add those results, what would you do?
If they add the results, it's obviously a public sham. That's why I'm telling the entire world, including His Excellency the President, to put his foot down. Because if we all make rules and we decide that the rules will not be enforced, the rules are for the benefit of the public and the candidates, and yet on the ground they will not be enforced, force is applied, impunity is applied, and nobody is able to do anything about it, then the result is a sham.
But some can say that, your request is a bit far-fetched. The matter could be easily resolved. Why?
In what way will the matter be resolved? If the ballots that were showed have gone into the box, how will the matter be resolved? The ballots that are being showed have been put in the box. How will the matter be resolved? The rules say that any ballot that is showed is invalid. That is what the rules say. Any ballot that is showed is invalid. So if you are voting systematically and showing it systematically, and the EC are looking on, the police are looking on, and our agent is assaulted for protesting, then it's grounds enough to reject the entire result.
When are you foreseeing the defeat? That is why perhaps
it is not about it. There is nothing like defeat in this. It is a selection. It's a mere selection. We are enforcing the margin of what victory for the. There's no victory when you select 5 people. Where is the victory? You are selecting 5 people. We are talking victory. Those who need it to demonstrate their emptiness are the ones who are pursuing victory. Those who need it to demonstrate emptiness are the ones who are pursuing victory. There's nothing about victory in this. What it is that the party is peacefully selecting 5 people who will go to the true election. There's only one true election, November 4th. But to begin to assault agents at this time and to begin to flout the rules with impunity means that the President, His Excellency, the party leadership who are in charge of the election, and the Vice President's faction, I'll call them a faction because they are behaving like a faction, ought to beware. The agent is in hospital.
Who is assaulting?
He's reported the police. And he's been assaulted. He's in the hospital in the northeast.
By who?
The reports will come out. He's gone to the police. The police have given the hospital form, and the statement to the police will be made public in due time.
So
we have reported.
If that's the case,
we have reported.
If that's the case, why are you quick to call on the Vice President to put his feet down?
Yes, because they are doing it on his behalf. It is his vote that they are showing. They are not showing Alan Chematin's vote. It is the Vice President's vote they are showing to confirm that they voted for him.
And that's the communications director for Honorable Alan Kojo Chairman Ting Ayabuabia Asamoah. And he's making some very serious allegations there. Roland Walker will give us some insights into that. Roland, do you have any updates on this alleged assault that took place in the Northeast? Roland, can you hear me? Hello, Roland? Okay, well, we'll try and reconnect with Roland Walker. I'm not sure he can hear us at the moment, but you've heard those allegations coming in as well. And maybe I should go to Dr. Musa Dankwa Musa Dankwa, yes. Pardon me. I guess I'm preempting what could happen in the future. But now Yabuabia Asamoah is also screaming. And earlier we heard from, Honorable Kennedy Japan, who was also alleging that there was some assault on one of his agents. Now we're hearing from Alan's camp, and they're also making similar allegations.
Honestly, if it is true, I'm disappointed. I am disappointed, honestly, because it would take the shine of anything that happened today from the contest. And what can I say? It's not the best to happen. I mean, NPP, we know there could be issues here and there, but there were clear guidelines that were issued by the party to guide the conduct of how people should vote. And if this is happening, then it's very unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate. But he also makes allegations about, the ballots being shown as against the rules.
Yes.
That have been made as well.
What does the rule say about ballots that are shown? Probably that they should enforce the rule to the letter, so that they believe that they are enforcing their own rules. Otherwise, it will be a sham, to be very honest.
Let's go back to Roland Walker. I think he can hear us now. Roland, can you hear me now? Hello, Roland. Roland, can you hear me? Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he can. But Dr. Sasansin, what do you make of this as well?
I'm not surprised. Because every time that we talk about these things, political parties, they pretend that they don't exist. That people, bus people to places. People use all manner of tricks, including propaganda. One of the issues I wanted to react to was the issue of, almost everybody following the vice president and all that. We call in politics the bandwagon effect. That the right-thinking people are here. Why have you decided to stay away? It doesn't win any election. Intimidation, harassment, do not. Look at what we are seeing. I'm not surprised because, look, from the beginning, when people started talking about the breaches regarding the rules governing elections within NPP, the party dismissed it, shoved it under the carpet. Today, it has blown in their face right here. That this is what, if what we are hearing is anything to go by, then it tells you that it's hypocrisy. All right? Why do you set rules and then you come out to condemn, kick against the rules? Why are the sanction regimes? Why are the police looking on without arresting anybody? Where is the election management body, which is supposed to make sure that the election is organized in a much secret manner, so as to ensure it foolproof and all that? All these things have been thrown to the dogs. And where are the party leadership? I'm talking about Council of Elders, the Ethics Committee. Where are they? They are missing in action. If this thing is anything to go by, I challenge them to come up and then challenge the process and make sure that the right environment is created, so as to give the people the hope that the platform is equal for all. Otherwise, I want to describe that incident at that place as a pure sham.
Pure sham. Roland Walker, what exactly is the problem? Can you confirm if indeed the allegations made by Mr. Yabuabia Samoa are true or not?
Well, I cannot confirm from the northeast end where they are doing the voting. However, we had heard earlier reports that that incident had happened at the party headquarters among the media and the personnel that were here. And also there was an incident in which we have some reports going around that a ballot was shown to the entire public that was at the voting center in Northeast. That raises fundamental questions based on the guidelines that had been set for this very election. And based on that, the director of communication for the Alan team or the Alan campaign, Yabuabia Samoa, a former director of communication for the party himself, says that that is a ground on which the Alan team is refusing to accept any result when the voting ends at 1 p.m. But we also ask some key questions that if you take a look at it, this is a one-off incident that might have happened. And in election processes and when voting is being undertaken and there are concerns as well as some incidents that are reported, sometimes you don't let that halt the process of events. You try to find some agreement resolved. If there are disagreement, find some truths, and then you are in a position to say that the voting should continue. If you look at the response from him, he says that there had been some issues that were brewing based on influences he claims were from the Baumia camp. And these have been instigated by the Baumia camp to make sure that this is undertaken, whereby a voter, a delegate, goes to cast a ballot. At the end of the day, shows the ballots that has been cast to the public at the voting center. Because that frowns on the electoral rules that have been set by the ruling party for this super delegate conference, he is insisting that is an enough basis or a ground for the alarm team to reject the Northeast votes and the normal votes that will be coming from the decision of the Electoral Commission at the end of the day. We have to say, he also did indicate, which we can't confirm currently, that the agent, their agent, was injured in the process because he had raised concerns about why a rule had been set guiding this process of the election, and then a delegate comes to vote and then shows the ballot to the public at the periphery, or we're talking about the vicinity of the voting center. So that raises fundamental questions. And he said the agent, and that's again according to Yabuabuya Asamoah, the agent currently is receiving treatment. So again, we'll go and verify that. But that is the decision coming from the Alan camp, again, being communicated by Yabuabuya Asamoah, who is no mean person, a former Adenta member of parliament, director of communications for the party, and so also speaks for the Alan team and is raising this. He also says that there have been attempts by some individuals to, again, make it more confirmatory that Bawumia is the leading candidate. He says there's nobody like that. There's nothing like that. And that what is being done, irrespective of the choices that will be made, whether somebody comes first, second, third, and fourth, or fifth, it is just a selection of 5 individuals who then will ultimately go and face the generality of the delegates, numbering over 200,000 in November, to go and elect the presidential candidate of the party, presumptively, to be presented to the Electoral Commission of Ghana for the 2024 presidential election. So he makes that ultimately very succinct for the media to be able to capture and then take some more lessons from. But then we asked him, why are you raising this when you know that this could ultimately also mar the process, also create a certain tension? He says this is being done in the spirit and an atmosphere of transparency to make sure that what is right is right. Something that goes against the rules of the party should be criticized and condemned. That's what he says, Bella.
I see. Well, we'll be waiting for some more updates on this matter, and also hopefully some confirmation with regards to the allegations made on the Northeast agent. But if you look at the guidelines that was issued by the Presidential Elections Committee, it says clearly that voting shall be by secret ballot, and every delegate shall be entitled to 1 vote and must cast their vote for a single aspirant of their choice. And also asks the EC to enforce and adhere to restricting delegates from taking their phones to the ballot booths, using complex serial numbers to avoid ballots being traced to voters, denying influencers and macho men access to the voting center, administering walk-in standard practice, and urging presiding officers not to call out names of delegates in the queue to vote at the voting centers. And so these are some of the guidelines that have been given as well. And Roland, maybe we'll come to you again so you can apprise us more on what is happening. Roland is currently at the headquarters of the NPP, but also brings to bear, earlier when we spoke to one of our correspondents, he said in the Central Region, he said that Cynthia Mamle Morrison, who's a former gender minister, had also raised some concerns, even about some delegates openly declaring their support for one candidate or the other, because she thought that that was wrong in the first place, and that could also lead to some form of chaos eventually. What do you make of that situation? Was it wrong for them to come out and declare their support?
Very, very wrong. Because at this time, this is not a time of campaign. There are 3 phases in election. The pre-election phase, election phase, post-election phase. We are in election phase. All that you do is go and cast your vote, stay somewhere. When it comes to counting, you come around, it's counted, and results are declared at the what? The post-election phase. So what are we seeing here? It tells you that management of the election has broken down beyond repairs in that area. Because that is why we put in what? An election management body that will ensure that all these processes will what? Be smooth, and that it doesn't create any advantage for anybody. And here you are. this is the kind of things that we are experiencing. It's very, very unfortunate that political parties don't spend time to build institutions. These are institutions, and here when I talk about institutions, I'm talking about the rules, the regulations, the norms, and all that. It's not just a mere walking to cast your vote, but that you are prepared to what? Go through the rules that have been set to regulate your conduct as a voter in voting. And I'm not surprised that this also is happening, because people are learning by experience. We saw it in Parliament, where people voted and showed their ballot. We saw it in NDC, where people voted and showed their ballot, and it's here. My worry is that any time we go for election, there is always the political class trying to introduce something that becomes what? A headache for our society. All right? We started with, macho men. We move on to what? Snatching of ballot boxes and all that, and to, difficult times that they have to what? Come in with a law to prescribe all these things. Today, the way I am seeing things, I am not praying that it happens. If we don't take care, we are going to see a replica of this at the national election, where people vote and then they show their ballot. Look, we are in dangerous times. We need to nip this thing in the bud. And then politicians might show the cause that they love this democracy. They want to defend it at all times. And that hypocrisy that they have, always preaching virtue and practicing vice, must cease.
Musalanko, how do you advise this is handled? Of course, these are just allegations at the moment, but of course, investigations must take place. But what do you think that the senior leadership of the party should do about this?
I think if they want us to believe in them, that they are true Democrats and that they believe in the rules of the game that they themselves set, then they must set a good example for this case. We shouldn't entertain this at all, because it's, as Dr. said, it's going to transcend beyond this small election to the November election and all the way to general election. I think it should be stopped in a way that is open for everyone to see. Okay. It's not good. I'm really disappointed, honestly. If these reports are true, I'm truly and sincerely disappointed.
And this is just the Super Delegates conference. So only God knows what could happen.
What could happen?
At the national elections.
I'm very sad about it. I'm really, really sad.
Well, the New Patriotic Party National Chairman Stephen and team has visited the Greater Accra Regional Voting Center. And, well, he also spoke to Roland Walker to give us some details.
The regional treasurer. Today is birthday. Wow. So you said she dreamt that you came here. And her dream has come true.
What you trying to do? How are you? Sorry, what's your party person? Oh, party leader of phone and some. I don't see it too. And then special day 26 your party.
You don't need to tell delegates how to compete. They know what to do. They know exactly what to do. So I'm not surprised at all. That's so, it's been so orderly and peaceful.
This process, you are selecting top 5 out of the top 10. Everybody was expecting a little, maybe some acceptations here and there. But every center we visited so far proved to us that everything is okay.
Yeah, they've been coached. They know exactly what to do. Plus, NPP is still NPP. It's a tradition. We don't believe in mayhem and disorder. So that's exactly what we envisage will happen. We are witnessing it.
Now, with this picture you are painting, is there an indication of what Ghanaians should expect from the NPP, that it's a party that really understands the democratic process?
Rule of law, everything. That's what the NPP stands for. We don't expect anything different from that.
Chairman, we spoke to Alan's campaign team a while ago, and they said the election has not been generally peaceful. Besides an issue in Northeast, one of their agents has been assaulted. Has that issue come to attention?
I have personally called Northeast, and the issue has been resolved.
Okay, Chairman. So at the end of the day,
simple misunderstanding.
Yes. With this picture for the foot soldiers out there, is there a time for them to really hope again that at the end of the day, leadership will get you a leader that really will be the one that will lead this elephant to bring the 8?
Yeah, that's exactly what we are expecting. The process has been orderly. Everybody will vote according to their own conscience. There will be no intimidation, as we are all witnessing. So we expect that at the end of the day, the right person is chosen by the party.
And who is the right person?
Thank you very much, Chairman, and wish you all the best.
All right, and that's the chairman for the NPP, and he says that, well, some of these issues have come to his table and they've tried their best to resolve the matter, and so it's still under control, and they'll give us some updates on that. Mr. Danko, I'll come to you shortly. Just give me a few minutes. Dr. Asante has to go, so I just wanted to come to you on a very important aspect of the conversation, and this is on the back of a statement that was made by Mr. Boakye Adam. He's also a political analyst, and he says that NPP in the Super Delegates Conference should try and ensure some regional balance at all costs. And so for him, he thinks that at least for all the 5 who will be selected from the 10 approved aspirants, they must all come from different regions to ensure some level of regional balance. Do you agree to the statement that I disagree? Made? You disagree?
Yeah, politics is who gets what, when, and how. You are not talking about any fanciful idea that will earn you nothing. You are in for the kill. You are in to win, get a candidate who will appeal to the masses, who will be able to what, move people along and then vote for him massively. If it's a mere, just ensure agenda or regional balance, I'm afraid that's not an issue. Let them go through the process. Elect whoever becomes what, the flag bearer, and his government will be what, take into consideration the issue of what, regional balance. Okay. But at this moment, no, you need somebody who has the political wherewithal to be able to lead the party. You need somebody who is so popular to be able to draw the votes. You need somebody who has the message that resonates with the people. You need somebody who has strategy. You need somebody who has a manifesto that becomes a living document of the party. And you need somebody who is financially what? Disciplined and can ensure value for money. And you need somebody who is loyal and can appeal to what? The rank and file of the party. It's a whole mix of factors that you need, but not necessarily what? Gender. Because if you look at the regional balance. The regional balance you put there, at the end of the day, that, proposal will fizzle out in the sense that you are going to what? The final election, you are going to look for one person. And that person, are you looking at what? What type of what? Regional balance are you talking about here? He is going to be that individual from at least one region. So what else do you? You can, if you propose this, I believe that there should be a logical conclusion of this thing to the final level. And at the final level, which region do you want to propose that it gets to the final level, and which region will not qualify? Okay. That proposal, I disagree.
Well, let me just quote what he says. He says, my prayer is for the delegates to maintain regional balance. It is my hope that the 5 candidates chosen come from the regions, different regions, rather than the same. So all delegates from the Ashanti region should vote for Alan, while those from Northeast should vote for Baumia. Then from the Central region, Kennedy Japan should be considered. They can also vote for Jogati in the Western region and Boakye Jaku in the Eastern region. And if they are successful in doing so, it will ensure regional balance and a fair representation of all the regions and demonstrate that those who run in the various regions were fairly represented.
The electorate, the delegates for this matter, are those who are going to decide. And they don't decide based on theory and all that. Okay. They are the realists. They know the situation on the ground, and they want to what? Elect somebody who really what? Rub shoulders with John Mahama, and then other party flag bearers who will emerge. So it is not that type of theory that they are looking at. They are looking at somebody who can really do the magic and bring home what? The smile on the faces of the people.
Well, Gaiji also, and he's a member of Kennedy Japan's team, says that the standards set for the election are being undermined. Mr. Yabuabia Samoa and other aspirants are making serious allegations that should be addressed by elections committee immediately. Well, we'll take a break at this point. Dr. Asante, thank you so much for joining us. You'll be taking leave of us, and he's a political scientist with the University of Ghana. Musa Dankwa is still here with us, the Executive Director for Global Info Analytics, and we have more coming up. Voting is still ongoing. It ends at 1, and so we'll keep you updated as we carry on with the transmission. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
President Akufo, memo showdown. Vice President, memo showdown. So, Muma chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you embassy? What do you embassy? Yes, me challenge President Akufo anytime. In this country, President Akufo, memo showdown. Vice President, memo showdown. So, Muma chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you embassy? What do you embassy? Yes, me challenge President Akufo anytime.
My name is John, and this is my long-time crush, my cookie dipped in strawberry yogurt. On this scorching hot afternoon on our way back from a long job hunt, we met this good Samaritan who offered us a 6 weeks later.
A special wedding reception for our bride and groom.
And there she is, my cookie, dipped in someone else's yogurt.
Who holds the moolah, calls the shots, play game by games, the easiest lottery to play and win. Big phone numbers from 0 to 9 up to 3 times daily to become one of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now. Or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
Get to win! Let's go! I knew you were going to say what's here. Me well, Romans give me on that Dana CD.
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Kill It Insecticide Spray.
Gino Tomato Mix. Make sure you know who you are making friends with, and if the person is so intent on being your friend, ask yourself why.
My husband is aware of my friendship with her side chick.
Wow.
Yet she didn't say anything about it.
Apart from being a wife, you're a woman.
Yeah.
Apart from being a woman, you're a lady.
Yeah.
So you need to segregate your role in that marriage.
Some men are so something else. You cannot tell your wife she's looking good, her hair is nice, but you can tell other girls in the office.
My supposed best friend is asking me to forgive her and then forgive my husband. But then she also has confessed to me that she's in love with me, that I'm the first lady she has actually been attracted to sexually.
Anything to do with her already?
No.
How do you feel about her confession?
Listen, I feel I'm also attached to her. I feel I'm also in love with her.
Confessions shows on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN.
There's a passion that brings us together, but beyond the thrill of the game, we know why you play.
Hey, come on!
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gaming can be addictive. 5 bets. Together, we play.
Get to win! Let's go!
I knew you were going to say what's here.
Me well, Romans give me on that Dana CD.
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Kill It Insecticide Spray.
Gino Tomato Mix. It's fun, it's educative, it's entertaining. It's season 3 of your favorite TV show, Lucky Trip.
Beautiful people, my name is Camido, aka Mr. Grind on Stop. Hello. Hi. Hey.
Do family when it's family time.
Take a seat as we embark on a ride of your life with your favorite celebrities.
We rather go to Nigeria to film. Miss B is my friend. Actually, I know
you are like to do that.
Lucky Trip, the ride of your life.
Lucky Trip Season 3, premiering Saturday, 26th August at 4 p.m. on TV3.
Yes, so no. Aye manya to say so manya. And aye chaka to say chakademos. Otoka bibe lonche and
Delay. Nothing for fame. No.
Seriously? Everything you know because almost all brofu nye prempe brofu.
Brofu e disi kaba na meka. Anya brofu hu biasa na meka.
It's all called public restroom who used to male and female ladies. And don't you think we are violate Emma because you have a male sex organ but you are using the ladies?
Oh, tell me empowerment.
What a word you know a putoy and you need delay a putoy. Assassin.
The Delay Show now shows on Sundays at 6 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Vodafone, Safari Tissues, Pepsodent, Yas Sanitary Pad, Delay Foods, Tabia Takum, Greatfield Ventures, Alisa Hotel.
The old narrative of a woman only belonging to the kitchen is long gone. In today's world, a woman can be anywhere she decides to be, whether in the kitchen cooking or in offices where corporate decisions are made. In fact, anywhere and everywhere, women can choose to do anything they want to stand out. Beneath all the makeup and beautiful clothes are women who have lived through it all. We literally live the expression, turning lemons thrown at us into lemonades. Thank you, everyone. The journey to being a great, successful woman is not easy. And on these brand new episodes of Today's Woman, I'll bring you women from all walks of life who will share their stories with you, inspire you, uplift you, and let their hair down.
I'm going to Makola.
Also self-acclaimed.
Yeah, it's self-acclaimed actually. I'm still struggling with the fufu and the banku because I chew it.
No.
I know, right?
Akosia, you're supposed to swallow it.
Why didn't you ask me to make like TZ or banku?
How can you make TZ in this kitchen? Don't miss a single episode of Today's Woman with me, your new host, Cookie T, as I bring to your homes exciting conversation.
Today's Woman, all new season with Cookie T, shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Today's Woman is brought to you by Latex Foam, Vlisco.
This country, President Akufo, Mama will show down. Vice President, Mama will show down. So, Mama chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you embassy? What do you embassy? Yes, me challenge President Akufo anytime. Show down in this country. President Akufo, Mama will show down. Vice President, Mama will show down. So, Mama chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you embassy? What do you embassy? Yes, me challenge President Akufo anytime.
And that is Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, and of course he earlier wasn't too happy about some allegations that have been made against some members of the elections committee, of course, indicating that some of his agents have been attacked. And you clearly heard from him where he says that he will give the president and the vice president a showdown. We're yet to ascertain exactly what the real situation is and if it's really true that some agents have been injured, like we've heard from not just Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, but also from Mr. Yabuabing Asama, who's the communications director for Honorable Alan Kojo Tremate. But you're welcome back, and of course this is Media General's coverage, of course, of the Super Delegates Conference. We're not only live on TV3, we're also live on 3FM 92.7 and also live across our social media platforms, so on Facebook and also Twitter, now X, and also on YouTube. And we still have Musa Dankwa here with us. He is the Executive Director for the Global Info Analytics. He's also a pollster, and he's still here. We have a lot to talk about, but also allegations of delegates flouting party's directive by publicly declaring cast ballots has become another challenge. We bring you a comprehensive report across the country on the conference right here. And so even after I'm gone, there'll still be a number of my colleagues here who will be taking charge and giving you all the updates. But let me come back to you, Musa. And that question that I asked Dr. Sasanti earlier about the regional balance and representation, and why one political analyst thinks that just to ensure that there's a fair representation, the delegates should vote in such a way that the top 5 represents the various regions. Do you agree to that assertion that he made?
No, I don't. Because this is not about appointment to constitutional offices where the constitution says that you must have a regional balance. Elections is about numbers. It's a numbers game. Who can give you the numbers? If they are all from one region and they can give you the numbers, so be it. It's about who can win. But it's probably nice to have that, we have in the final 5 all people from all manner of regions, so that means that we are all inclusive. That doesn't add anything.
It doesn't add anything to us at all?
No, because at the end of the day, you want a strong candidate.
Does the issue of tribalism and also religious polarization come to play? And looking at the study that you've done, because you have conducted some study on this, did it come to play when you were conducting this research?
You know, in 2022, religion and ethnicity was getting traction in the polls.
Yeah.
But since the economic crisis, it's really fizzled out.
Completely?
Completely. Those who were going to vote based on religion and ethnicity, well below 2% of voters. Economy has now become the trump card for everybody.
Okay.
So when you have economic crisis, people's ethnicity really doesn't matter anymore. But you cannot say that entirely when you have candidates that are very similar in all respect and very unique, then some of those factors will become, what do you call it, differentiating factors. So not in the primaries, as far as I can say, but in the general election, that could manifest.
That could manifest?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's see how that goes. But then again, if you look at even the way Honorable Kennedy Japan is fuming about this clearly sends a message, probably to the grassroots. Could this have an impact on how the elections would go on November 4th, if indeed these allegations become true?
I think what is going to happen is that it would clearly create a gulf or alliances between the anti-establishment candidates.
Okay.
It would reinforce them and probably give them a reason to come together and fight what they probably call a common enemy. And I think that's what we'll see. Depending upon who falls in the top 5, if there are people who are anti-establishment, you could see a quick convergence of these people to fight the establishment. Because they may realize that, look, if we go on in the final contest fragmented, we could probably suffer. So it may accelerate the rate at which some of them will drop from the race.
But again, there were concerns that even the Superdelegates Conference, maybe it should not have happened. Or if it had happened, then there's no need to cap it at 5 because the Constitution doesn't necessarily say 5. It could have been up to 5. But the party was quite emphatic when it said that we're going to select 5. And that, for some people, was problematic.
I mean, for me, you see, if you work with numbers for some time, you could set up a cutoff period, a cutoff mark, that anybody who does not get, let's say, 10% or 5% will drop out. You may end up getting 2-3 people in the final 3, not 5. And that even is better because people could go through today with 0.5%.
Yeah.
From the way it looks. Because if they are counting the top 5, somebody gets 70%, 20%, and somebody gets 0.5, by virtue of the ranking of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he may qualify.
Yeah.
But is it really worth it?
It's not worth it?
0.5%. You see, elsewhere, you know, for example, if you look at the United States, who do this presidential poll system, people would declare their intention to contest. And as time goes on, they'll be watching the poll numbers. Depending upon where they sit in the polls, they begin to drop out and join alliances. Here, we don't. We go all the way. Even when we know that there's no way we can make any difference, they are still confident that they will win.
So you don't think that, and again, per the guidelines, if you look at what was dropped, they said that further, in the event of 2, 3, or 4 of the aspirants sharing the total results with the remaining candidates not obtaining any votes, there will be a runoff for those who obtained 0 votes to add up to make up the 5. While in the event of a tie between 2 or more candidates for the 5th position, a runoff election will be conducted for those who tie on Saturday, September 2, 2023. You don't think that this is necessary?
I mean, it's just unnecessary kind of rules they've created for themselves. Because people can... Look, the numbers are important. Why would you organize an election for people who have gotten 0.1%? They tie and that 0.1%.
Could anything change? The fact maybe they got 0.1%, but could anything change coming to the November 4 elections?
Look, this NPP race is between the top 3 candidates, period.
Okay.
Because the rest of the people that we are pushing to make up the 5, in the polls we did, they were performing less than 1%.
Yeah.
So for me, it's neither here nor there. It's between Alan Kennedy, and Baumia, period.
If you look at the years of primaries and votes, and you look at Alan, of course, this would be the 4th time that he's contesting in the primaries. In 2007, he was able to poll 32.3% of the votes. But in 2010, his votes dwindled.
Yes.
So it moved to 19.91%. But at least at that time, I think that the voters register had increased by number, okay? And then in 2014, it went down again to 4.75%. So he's not been performing too well.
But you see, he's not been performing against a particular candidate.
Okay.
Nanado was the flag bearer in 2008. So he didn't succeed. The obvious choice for people would be to return him back to the contest and see whether he can win the election in 2012.
He says it's time.
No, but by that time, Nanado hasn't fizzled out. Once Nanado is in the shadow, Alan will find it difficult to break through.
Okay.
And Nanado lost 2012 elections, and he went to the Supreme Court to challenge the results. And people felt that, oh, maybe he was cheated, so let's put him back again in 2016. That's why Alan lost again in 2014, because people felt that let's try Nanado again for the last time.
And that's why his votes dwindled.
Absolutely. But what we've seen in the poll numbers is quite huge numbers he's pulling.
Okay, so things could be different this time around.
Things could be different.
Okay, well, let's hear from Honorable Shirley Ayoko Botre. She's the Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Minister, and she's also spoken after casting her vote.
So far, so very, very good.
Oh, no, but what qualities are you looking out for in the people?
I'm looking for, let me say that every one of the 10 are well qualified to lead our party. But then we also need to look beyond, which is who will help us, or who has a better chance if he or she leads, and this time it's all ease. If he leads, will help us break the eight, and I believe my candidate will.
In terms of unifying the party, what should the party do after this internal process?
Well, I think that we all understand that. Even all the 10 people understand that there's only one person who will win this election, and then of course the main one, which is on the 4th. 2 people can't share that spot, and therefore everyone going into the race knows that they stand a chance, but it is one person who will win. So that's basically it. So if you do not win, you rally around the winner, and we prosecute the agenda to break the eight and get back into government in 2025, 7th of January. But so far it's going well.
Okay, if at the end of this exercise, the person who will make a winner extends invitation to you to be a running mate, would you accept it?
I think about it. But it's not something that a decision you take like this. You think about it, you consult, and all of that.
Is it worrying that we don't have any females contesting in this one?
Well, eventually we will. For now, it's not worrying. It's not worrying. No female has expressed that interest and gone forward, but it's not worrying. Eventually it will happen, like it has happened in other places.
So, Ma'am, is this process really telling Ghanaians that the NPP really understands the real democracy, looking at the processes you've put in place?
Oh, I believe so. Absolutely. You can tell from what is happening in the reports from all over the country that we understand what we are doing very well, and we also know that it must be done in a very decorous manner, which is befitting of what we are all about, a very decent party. The one who wins will win with a very clear margin.
And will you have intentions of becoming a running mate of any of them?
Well, we are here to pick our leader. Why are you thinking of a running mate at this point? We're here to pick our leader.
But it's something you'd consider if it comes your way.
Well, I believe anybody in the party will consider it, including myself. So it doesn't really. We are here to pick our leader. Why are you thinking of a running mate at this point? We're here to pick our leader.
But it's something you'd consider if it comes your way.
Well, I believe anybody in the party will consider it, including myself. So it doesn't really. don't know what to say except to say that any one of us will consider it. But today we are choosing our leader.
Top 5. You are choosing top 5.
Hey, number 10 is number 1. He will lead. Wide margin.
Thank you very much.
That's my candidate.
Well, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Butchie, very interesting questions there. Of course, one of them being the fact that would she consider if she's asked to become a vice presidential candidate for whoever wins? And she says, well, not that she's thought of, but of course, it's something she will consider. Let's hear from another woman whose name has also come up a number of times. She's also cast her vote. She is a formidable team member of the NPP. She's a Minister for Communications, Esla Owusu-Ekufo.
And we've always set the pace when it comes to our electoral arrangements. So far, and I've been monitoring from the other regions as well. Everything is going on smoothly.
And we'll just pick his views quickly as she tries to go in to cast her vote.
People are trooping in to cast their ballots. We're hopeful that will be done long before 1 o'clock, and then the results are declared and we move. We think it's an excellent arrangement. There have been a few comments made that people didn't quite like during the campaigning, but all the aspirants and their supporters have been spoken to that this is an internal contest. At the end of the day, we're choosing, ultimately on November 4th, we're choosing our flag bearer, who is going to represent the entire party as we move to do battle on 7 December 2024. So we shouldn't let this degenerate into an acrimonious contest, which will necessitate a lot of effort and work to resolve differences afterwards. We know all the aspirants, we've worked with all of them, but only one will emerge victorious. Now, even after today's elections, I'm hopeful that we have a clear front-runner emerging who would have garnered the support of the majority of the leadership of this party. Those who constitute the delegates for this special Delegates Congress form or comprise the leadership of the party, and we all have significant influence over the membership of the party, and none of us is doing our own will here. We're acting based on what the grassroots have told us, what they have directed us to do. We represent them, so we cannot come in and do our own thing. So if at the end of the day a clear front runner emerges, I'll urge the others to sit down so that we can have a frank conversation about how we go into the November contest, so we emerge more united, stronger, better positioned to take on the opposition NDC and retain power for the benefit of the generality of Ghanaians. So,
okay.
Esla Owusu-Ekufo, the Minister for Communications, speaking there after casting her ballot. But let's take a look at the, the messages from the 10 aspirants, and of course the interesting sloganeering that has come with it as well. Kennedy Japan came with a PhD, which means patriotism, honesty, and discipline. And he says that if the country needs to progress and develop, then everyone must be put on their toes through loyalty and discipline to develop the nation. Alan Kojo-Tramartin says, "Edru Woso," which means that it is your turn. And of course, he's saying that considering the number of times that he has vied for the flag bearership race, it is his time for him to become the leader of the party. Jogate is also running on hope and unity agenda, and he says it's time for Ghanaians to give him to be given the good treatment with respect to their lives. Dr. Efrie Akoto, very interesting slogan there. He says Atopa, but it actually means Akoto tops all. He says that he stands tall amongst all the other candidates. Kwabena J. Japan says it is a new dawn, and his government will run a lean-sized administration. A total of 54 ministers is what he will run with Francis Adai Nimo, he says it is the new face agenda for him, and there will be a revival of the economy to meet the expectations of Ghanaians. Then Dr. Mahmoud Bamia says it is possible. That is his slogan, and he touts himself as the right person to lead the NPP. Dr. Kofi Kunedua Preku says he is running on hope. He says that we need to still instill that hope in the grassroots. Now, let me come to him in particular, Dr. Kunedua Preku, because this will be the third time actually, that he's running. In 1998, he ran, and he came third with 2.8% of the votes. In 2007, it didn't look too good for him. He only polled just about 0.83% of the votes. He's back again. Also another person who's not really been in the faces of people. How could this pan out for him?
I really don't see him doing well this time around again, because he's left the local political scene. He's been in the ECOWAS institution, working within ECOWAS and shaping some policies for ECOWAS member states. And once you are quiet on this local front, you get forgotten. And that's what has happened to him. I don't think he'll pull any numbers. If you look at the work we've done in the NPP delegate, he's probably the last but one.
Last but one?
Yes.
Who is the last?
Boachejaku.
Boachejaku will be the last?
Was the last in the NPP poll we did in June.
Oh, wow. Yes. And he was last, but he says he's bringing hope to Ghanaians.
You know, politicians are different animals. Let me call them this way.
Okay.
You know, even when they know it's not good, they will give you all the hopes that you need to have. And by the end of the day, the chickens will come home to roost.
Well, okay. You've given us your top 5. So that means that there are 5 positions. You've given us the last 2.
Yes.
There are 3 positions in the middle there.
Now,
give us those names.
If you look at Boachejaku, he's running as a reformist, somebody, very disciplined guy. I have no doubt in his competence and his strong sense of mind and the ability to do things right. But the people he's looking for support from are not the people that will take that message.
Who is he looking for the support
from?
We
know who the super delegates are.
Yeah.
Regional and national party executives. People who are with the current system. See, that's the argument I have been making all along. Unless you find favor with this group of people, you are highly unlikely to do well among them. The same thing applies to Kobina Japan. Japan does very well in the base, in the grassroots. In fact, he is 4th. When it comes to NPP nationally, who do you want?
Oh, he's 4th.
He's 4th among the members who are people who are contesting. But once you leave the NPP base, then he begins to fizzle out.
Which is why he didn't make it onto your top 5 list.
Yes, yes. But he's also one of the rebels running against the establishment. And once you're running against the establishment, then you will not find favor in that group. Alan has been very careful. In the first speech he delivered, he sent out few salvos and he kind of walked back a bit.
Yeah.
And was walking a fine line because he knows the guys who are going to make the decision definitely are people who will not be happy with the salvos. But again, he must also show that, look, he understands what is going on in the country. He feels what the country is feeling.
Yeah.
He can't be oblivious about what is happening in the country. Otherwise, I mean, why would you put yourself up there? So I think he was walking a fine line. So I don't see problem for him in terms of the super delegate, because he's an old guy as well. He has alliances and friends, and he was gonna go through. Kennedy, as I mentioned, he's gonna go through because of if they leave him out, there will be a dynamite in the race, and then everything can happen.
But Kwabena Agyapong in particular, you think that for the amount of time he spent helping other people also eventually emerge as president, because he was part of the 92 presidential campaign for Albert Dubois. In 96, he was in Kufuor's camp. In 98, he was in Akufo-Addo's camp. And then eventually he became part of the general elections. So he's had some experience and understands the dynamics of the grassroots and also the top tier of the party. You don't think that he may, at this point, know how to play this game to inure to his benefit?
You see, it always comes back to the demography of the voters. Who are the voters? When he was in office, I believe 80% of people who are holding office today weren't there.
Okay.
So the grounds have shifted. So once you analyze the data and understand the data fully, you know that no, these guys that are running the party nationally now, probably they were not anywhere near when Kennedy was, Agyapong was there. So the support that he may have enjoyed would have fizzled out.
Okay.
And also the same principle that he's a rebel candidate within the party trying to fight the system. And these guys who are going to vote are part of the system.
What is with the NPP and sloganeering? Because clearly Ghanaians have sent a strong message to even the Akufo-Addo government that you came with a lot of slogans, we haven't really seen much happen for us. And then we see the aspirants also coming up with their own taglines and sloganeerings. Are they thinking that this will work even at a time when Ghanaians have said so many times that
these are all marketing,
it's never really worked for us?
Marketing tools, right? And you should find a way to make it work, even if people don't believe in it.
In this case, can they make it work?
Well, I'm not an expert in political communication or political marketing.
But you have the numbers, which is why I'm asking. Could this also play a role?
But you see, Ghanaians have moved on from sloganeering, whatever you call it. People are looking for solutions. In fact, when we spoke to Ghanaians about what is important to them when electing their candidate, it was about competence.
Okay.
Integrity. Right? And better manager of the economy. Can fight corruption.
Yeah.
So if you have a slogan, it is for you to see how this slogan fits into the key criteria Ghanaians are looking for.
Yeah.
If you're not able to do that, then you will be firing or misfiring.
On the baggage of the current administration as well.
Absolutely.
And that could clearly play a role.
Absolutely.
This is going to be an interesting one. And yes, we're still updating you on the NPP Super Delegates Conference. Remember that we're also live on 3FM 92.7 and also live on social media. Let us know what your thoughts are on this. You must also be monitoring keenly on this matter. But Musa Danko, I just want to say thank you and maybe final words before we wrap up. I know you also have to leave at this point.
I'm just looking forward to see how the results will pan out. I'm really looking for a normal race. That's what we want. We want normality.
Okay.
But if there is anything that is abnormal in a race, for me it will be very fascinating. And we'll see how it affects the polling in November.
Okay. Well, you had said earlier that it won't necessarily affect it.
No, I'm saying that depending on what happens. I remember I said that if there's a landslide, then nothing else changes.
Yeah.
But if the gap is narrow, then the narrative will change.
If there's a landslide, nothing changes. But, well, if the gap is narrowed, then that could change everything. Thank you so much, Mr. Dankwa, for joining us. He's the Executive Director for Global Info Analytics. He's also a pollster. And Duke Mensah Opoku will be joining me again to give us some more insight into the dynamics at play at the moment. Keep watching. This is your Election Command Center, and we're covering the NPP Super Delegates Conference. We'll be right back.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo medu me fire no ene ma won kra me enu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba
and everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama no nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you. Of Acrobato. Hello. Hey, ohwehwe what chair. Okay. A free bra wo di end point wa dance. Ah me call you no. Me Johnson sama na enkoyie en paso na my emre nyina na magina sabema na me no be fie for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
You bet the lotto Ghana Padia and one they were 539 direct, the best lotto game in Ghana. You will hear me say ubenya with solid magic numbers.
A free bako equals 39 mo.
Wow! Director enough winning no each show.
Abran Hedino, what the 2 Ghana cities pay and a 2 you. And to also call *446# across all networks. Ucha direct one. Obedi 20 times Sika Udikayeno. Ucha direct 2. Obedi 40 times Sika Udikayeno. And a direct train so Ebema wedi 400 times.
We no eat shot.
Kwame so enedino.
We no eat
shot. Hey! Direct 2 na mi kana fama me. We no dey choke ampa. They were 539 direct.
We no eat choke.
Saturday on Fisheries Eye at 6:55 p.m. on TV3. Unveil the harsh realities faced by vulnerable girls in Keji, a tranquil fishing community nestled within the Keta municipality of the Volta region. Cases of teenage pregnancy have shed light on a deeply concerning issue: how financial struggles drive young lives to the edge. Fisheries Eye brings to our viewers the harrowing experiences of marginalized voices in our fishing communities where dreams meet challenges. This and every Friday and Saturday at 6:55 p.m. only on TV3. Fisheries Eye is funded by the USAID from the American people. On this special entrepreneurship episode, our talented contestants are taking the stage to present a whole new dimension of business brilliance. Watch as these bright minds shape their vision into reality, crafting different business ideas that revolve around the strength and potential of women. Don't miss out on this remarkable showcase of women-centered entrepreneurship where creativity meets empowerment. This week is Eviction. To keep your contestant in the competition, vote by dialing *713*13# across all networks or download the TV3 Reality app on Play Store or App Store. Studio audience must be seated by 7 p.m. at TV3 Studio B. Show starts at 8 p.m. sharp here on TV3.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soap, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubnawo Mwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
It's fun, it's educative, it's entertaining. It's season 3 of your favorite TV show, Lucky Trip.
Beautiful people, my name is Camido, aka Mr. Grind on Stop. Hello. Hi. Hey.
Do family when it's family time.
Take a seat as we embark on a ride of your life with your favorite celebrities.
We rather go to Nigeria to film.
Miss B is my friend. Actually,
I know you are going to do that. Hey. Lucky Trip, the ride of your life.
Lucky Trip Season 3, premiering Saturday 26th August at 4 p.m. on TV3.
The old narrative of a woman only belonging to the kitchen is long gone. In today's world, a woman can be anywhere she decides to be, whether in the kitchen cooking or in offices where corporate decisions are made. In fact, anywhere and everywhere, women can choose to do anything they want to stand out. Beneath all the makeup and beautiful clothes are women who have lived through it all. We literally live the expression, turning lemons thrown at us into lemonades. Thank you, everyone. The journey to being a great, successful woman is not easy. And on these brand new episodes of Today's Woman, I'll bring you women from all walks of life who will share their stories with you, inspire you, uplift you, and let their hair down.
I'm going to Makola.
Also self-acclaimed.
Yes, it's self-acclaimed actually. I'm still struggling with the fufu and the banku because I chew it.
No.
I know, right?
Akosia, you're supposed to swallow it.
Why didn't you ask me to make like TZ or banku?
How can you make TZ in this kitchen? Don't miss a single episode of Today's Woman with me, your new host, Cookie T, as I bring to your homes exciting conversation.
Today's Woman, all new season with Cookie T, shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Today's Woman is brought to you by Latex Foam, Vlisco.
You're welcome back, and this is your Election Command Center, and we're bringing you live updates as part of the NPP Special Delegates Conference. We're live on TV3 and also live on 3FM 92.7. You can find us on our various social media platforms as well, on Facebook at TV3 Ghana, on Twitter, or you call it X now, and also on YouTube. Just type in TV3 Ghana, and you can watch us live and get all the updates. But Duke Mensah-Opoku has joined us again. He's with the political desk here at Media General, and he's going to give us some more insights into the details regarding the NPP and their composition as well.
Right.
Duke, you're welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here once again.
What do you have for us?
Who are the kingmakers?
Okay.
Very important. These are the people who matter when it comes to this important election. They are the kingmakers. They are the ones who would ensure that the numbers are whittled down from 10 to 5. Who are they? What is the makeup of the people who are called the super delegates, the 961. It's my job to break that down for you. Let's start with the first group on the list. That's the National Council. The National Council is the main deliberative body of the party. They take the big decisions. So in the run-up to this election, it's the National Council that decided that instead of having all of the 961 delegates converge at a particular point in time, at a particular place, say the Accra Sports Stadium, where the last major Congress of the New Patriotic Party was held to elect the national executives, they opted, in fact voted that this should happen at the regional level and not have one Congress, have everybody together to do that. So that's the National Council. It's the main deliberative body of the party, taking the highest level of decisions. It's made up of all sorts of people. It has representatives from the regions, has former national officers. That's the big body. That's the National Council. Next is the National Executive Committee. So you have the chairman and the people who are running the party, those who are the helm those who are the helm of affairs of the party. That's the National Executive Committee, National Chairman, General Secretary, Treasurer, all those who are running the party on a day-to-day basis. Within that, there is the National Steering Committee. All of that, they all form part of the National Executive Committee. Then you have all the regional executive committee members. So at the various regions, we have 16 regions in the country now. Every region has a regional chairman, has a secretary, has vice chairman, has Nasara coordinators. All those people are the regional executive committee members. So that's it. Then we have this special body, members of the National Council of Elders. Those are people who've paid their dues to the party. They have risen through the ranks. Most of them are, consider the wise men in the party, if you put it that way. Used to be led by that very experienced man from the Upper East region, Mr. C.K. Tedam. He's late now, but that position has now been taken over by Hackman Osuajiman, who used to be member of parliament for the New Drabin constituency, foreign affairs minister, worked in various capacities in the Kufuor administration, and was also, chairman of Cocoa Board in the Kufuor's first administration. So Hackman Osuajiman leads the Council of Elders in the New Patriotic Party at this point in time. All members of that council has the likes of Kujun Pianim and the rest. Solid people, party people who are, old people. Council of Elders, properly so called. People who can advise and provide leadership when the going gets tough. That's the National Council of Elders, led by the man Hackman Osuajiman. Then you also have special organs of the party. So special organs of the party, we're talking about the Nasara wing, the youth wing, the women's wing. Those are the special organs of the party. They would have 3 representatives each voting. And then we have the past national officers. So past chairman Freddie Blay, all those who have served the party at the national capacity in previous instances. So this is where Kwabena Agyapong will draw his vote from, because he's a former general secretary and he's also a member of the National Council. So past national officers also serve in the National Council. Then we have 3 reps each from the 27 external branches. So the NPP has external branches. You have NPP USA, NPP UK, NPP Germany, all NPP China. All those external branches will have 3 representatives each, voting. And all these, they will vote at the national headquarters. So they contribute to the 204 people or 204 votes that is domiciled or that is resident at the national headquarters. Then you have the founding members, the people who signed the cards, who signed the forms to ensure that the New Patriotic Party was birthed. So you have people people like Kwabena Agyapong, always not afraid to put it out there. They are founding members of the party. So you have founding members of the party. Some of them known, some of them not known. people who signed the forms of the New Patriotic Party who are alive and who are still alive. They have votes, so they are the founding members. They would have to prove that they are founding members. And then you have all card-bearing ministers. All card-bearing ministers. Now, it's important to clarify because we've had situations in NPP administrations where you've had ministers who are not card-bearing members. We don't have a lot of that in the Kufuor administration, but we had quite a number of people in the Kufuor administration who were ministers, but they were not card-bearing members. So you talk about Dr. Pakwe Sindum. He was not a card-bearing member of the NPP, but he was a minister. Okay. You had Moses Daniba, who was Deputy Minister of Health. He was not a card-bearing member of the NPP. He belonged to the PNC, but he was still a Deputy Minister. You had...
hold on just a minute. Let's just take a look at a conversation that we had with Evans Nemako, who is the Director of Elections for the NPP. He's insisting that the party has not received any formal report on the incident of electoral malpractice in Northeast, and he contends that Alan's team's announcement to reject votes from Northeast is premature.
It's not come before us officially as a committee. We expect that the agreement that all security-related issues will be managed by the Ghana places. That will be done at the Northeast Voting Center, i.e. Neregu Secondary School. We expect that stakeholders will respect the guidelines that we've come out with. The rules that were published were not an imposition of anybody or from the committee to any of the stakeholders. It was as a result of deep consultation among stakeholders, i.e. the Elections Committee, the Ghana Police Service, the EC, and the presidential candidate. We expect that they will respect these guidelines.
As a result of that, the Alan team say they are rejecting votes from Northeast region.
Well, it will be difficult to speak to the issue at this stage because I don't have the full facts of it. So I don't know what will warrant a whole nullification of a result from Mr. or lawyer Boabia Samuel. I will expect to have an official report which will be considered by the Elections Committee.
Well, he's asking for an official report based on the allegations that have been made by the communications director for Alan Chermantin. Also, another delegate, Honorable Kennedy Ejepong, so that the party and the Electoral Commission can act on it. But let's cross over now to the Bono region where Ibrahim is on standby, and we just have about maybe not too many minutes, just about 25 minutes before voting closes. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us? How is voting going?
Well, Bella, voting is going on very, very smoothly here. In fact, the venue for the voting is even a bit coded, Pastoral Center. Before you get to the main voting center, you have to pass through 3 police checkpoints. From the main entrance to the voting center will take you about 800 meters. So it's not a small journey. It's difficult for anyone who is not a delegate or a journalist or anyone who has no business here to get close to the voting center. As I speak to you, you know, for the Bono region, the number of delegates expected to vote are 38. But the regional chairman, who is Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye DC, 2 days ago issued a statement that he will not be part of the voting process. He is abstaining himself because of issues or citing indiscipline among some of the constituency and also regional officers. So in the morning, he was here just to observe how voting is ongoing, and he left. So as I speak, if you take him out of the equation, meaning only 37 are expected to vote. But for the EC, of course, they said he has not told them officially, so they are still expecting 38. But all the 37 that are expected to vote, excluding Abronye DC, have cast their ballot. The regional, the health minister, Kweku Men, was the last person to cast his ballot. So for now, they are done. They are just waiting for 1 o'clock so that they begin with the sorting and also subsequent announcement of the result here.
But have you seen Abronya DC anywhere around the venue at all?
Yes, he was here in the morning just to come and observe process, engage with the police, the EC officials, but he says he's not going. In fact, we tried to engage him and he told us that he decided not to vote because of personal reasons. So as it remains, he will not be part of the exercise. So all 37, like I said, have cast their ballot and the EC is just waiting for 1 o'clock for them to begin the sorting and subsequent announcement. So like being done in every region, the media are not allowed into the voting center. So currently, the police has offered us this shade, this tree, and they provided some chairs for us to sit there and wait for the, I don't know whether when they begin the counting and also the subsequent announcement, they will let us inside. So for now, we don't know about that. We are waiting for the 1 o'clock. So those delegates who have voted and they do not want to go home, they've also been provided chairs here to make themselves comfortable. So for here, in fact, Bella, the venue, like I earlier said, of the voting will not even allow whoever has no business doing here to even come close to the voting center.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Ibrahim, for speaking to us, and we're waiting earnestly for the polls to be closed and for counting to begin. So we'll come over to you again when the time is right to get some more updates. Thank you so much. Ibrahim is speaking to us from the Bono region. But I'm coming back to you, Jude, and Duke, pardon me. And, you know, the issue about Kennedy Ejapong and the allegations that he's making. We've heard from the Director of Elections for the NPP, and he says that as it stands now, no official report has been sent to them. Yet we have these allegations flying about. And of course, you can find a lot of our videos on social media, TV3 Ghana on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also on YouTube and TikTok. TV3 Ghana. Please find us and join in the conversation. What do you make of these allegations that are coming up?
Answer with two political axioms. Politics is a game of numbers, and the name of the game is vigilance.
Okay.
These two things. Why do I say so? This is an election where he spent a lot of resources to go around the country canvassing.
Yeah.
So on the day, if he feels that the level playing, the field is not level, or there's no level playing field, he has every right to be aggrieved. But how does he express his grievance in a way and manner that does not poison the atmosphere?
Yeah.
Already, the fact that the arguments of the opponents to this whole process was rejected, it still doesn't sit well with some people. Because there are a lot of the candidates who wanted everybody to be at one place, they vote, everybody goes away. So that is already, those embers can easily be inflamed, and then it hits up again. So if you poison the atmosphere as a candidate on a day that people are expecting you to be presidential, but what we saw is nothing. It's the Kennedy Ejapong, the firebrand that we know, in his usual outburst, saying that he's not happy about it. He has every right to complain.
But he's not the only one. Yabuabian Samoa as well from Alan's campus also making some complaints.
Fair enough. I mean, I was taking them case on a case by case basis.
All right.
For Alan, it is his spokesperson. This is the candidate himself, the one on the ballot, right? But that does not take anything away from him. Yabuabian Samoa is also talking about a flagrant disregard for one of the key elements, the protocols, the administrative protocols that were issued days ago being flouted about the display of votes in the Northeast region, which happens to be the Vice President's home region. I'm waiting for the evidence that they will adduce, because you can't just make such comments and expect everybody to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. They would have to provide evidence that if it is true, then it's quite unfortunate, because already there is this notion in people's minds that there's an establishment candidate, and a lot of things are going on. So I was very happy about the fact that the body managing this process had put it out there that they would ensure that this whole process is transparent, is gone through very well regarded, higher standards of professionalism is employed. But when you have some of these rules allegedly being flagrantly disregarded, it doesn't all go well for the process. It's poison. Remember, this is just a dress rehearsal. The main thing is on November 4th. And this is the case, you are just managing 961 delegates. What will happen if you are managing hundreds and thousands of people on November 4th, where the stakes will even be higher? Because, mind you, after this, processes will come down, people will just, I mean, they'll be reduced to 5. And when they are reduced to 5, that's when the alliances will start forming. That's when all of that will start going around. For that, the argument cannot be made that you hold it at a particular place because you have thousands of people. But that will be an even much more difficult process to manage. So the kind of success you have with this should tell us how they're going to manage the bigger process. If it is true, it's unfortunate. But those who alleges must prove.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Because
exactly. But at the same time, is this unique to just this Superdelegates conference when it comes to issues concerning? When it comes to elections, a lot of these issues happen.
Not at all. The famous 2007 election in Legon, where there were accusations that some people were sharing dollars and all of that. 2014, we also had all those issues. So these concerns are not new. They are not new in any, I mean, every election comes with some of these, I mean, issues. But the maturity and the level of, I mean, tact with which these issues are addressed is what tells a good party adept with managing its processes with the one that cannot manage. So don't forget that the NDC and the other parties are also watching. They will tell you that they can't even manage their own processes. Why should we trust them to break the 8 and go on to manage? So all of these things need to be managed properly. But for me, of course, these matters you can't trust res ipsa liquita, that the facts speak for themselves on the face of it. You need to prove with evidence.
Well, let's speak to Christopher Marco, and he is our rep from the Northeast region, Savannah region, and the Northern region. On the back of these allegations that have been made, we want to find out if indeed there's some truth to it. Christopher, good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us. Hello, Christopher.
Good afternoon, Bella.
Good afternoon. Where are you at the moment?
Yes, so Bella, I'm at the voting center here in Nalerigu, capital of the Northeast region.
Okay. Now, there are some allegations that have been made. One from Alan's camp and another from Kennedy Japan's camp. Now, we're being told that one of the agents from Kennedy Japan's camp has been assaulted. And in fact, he was fuming about the fact that this person was in the hospital. He had been chased into a room. Can you give some insight to that? Is that really true?
Yes, so Bella, earlier when we got here, the media was not allowed to have access to the voting center. So all we saw was that a gentleman came from the center and claiming that he was assaulted in here. We tried finding out from him what actually the situation was, and he explained that there were some issues of vote showing which he resisted that led to this attack. He was rushed to the BMC, that is the Baptist Medical Center here in Nalerigu, by the Northeast Regional Minister, the Sports Minister, and other delegates who are here to also go through the process. As we speak, he's back to the voting center and ensuring that everything goes on smoothly. But Bella, one thing is that just behind me are EC officials who are getting ready to commence sorting and counting of the 29 ballots that were casted earlier today.
Okay. Now, this young man who was rushed to the hospital, did you see any signs of injury? Did he give you further details?
Yes, Bella, his right eye is very much swollen. And according to one of the people who followed him to the hospital, he told me that the eye has a very serious injury and that he will need further medical attention to be able to correct that. When he was entering this premises, I engaged with him and he told me that he feels okay now, but for the swollen eye, but he believes that going forward, certain security measures must be employed by the party to ensure that party agents or aspirants agents are given the necessary protection. He described what happened here as unfortunate and that the party needs to set up to ensure that such incident does not occur again going.
And this man belongs to Alan Charamati or Kennedy Japan's team. Christopher, are you there? Okay, I think we've just lost him, the technology as usual. Yeah. But now we're getting some confirmation that indeed there was some level of assault and there was a man.
If indeed that happened, happened, two phases. So treat the criminality as criminality.
Okay.
Try and find out who did this. If there's assault, if there's battery, if there's some level of false imprisonment, there's a clear course of action in tort and in law and in criminal law. So deal with it, deal with the criminality as it is, and then also, if you are going to deal with that, deal with the criminal aspect, and then also find out if that conduct has had any effect on the overall outcome of the elections. Because at the level of the Supreme Court, a certain precedent has been set that when you're looking at irregularities and voting irregularities and the rest, the benchmark is, will the number of votes affected, will that have an effect on the overall picture of the election? That is the benchmark set by our Supreme Court. So they need to treat criminality as criminality. The one who perpetrated the assault should be fished out and put before court, charged by the police and put before court. And then we look at whether this has had any impact or has had any effect on the voting itself and whether it will affect the overall national picture.
I see. But also the issue about vote showing, because clearly the directives indicates that you vote secretly.
Right.
And put your paper into the ballot box.
Right.
Then again, we're hearing, Chris has also confirmed that per the man's assertion, the reason he was assaulted was because he complained about people showing who they were voting for.
His word.
That's his word.
That's his word.
But that also needs to be investigated.
It has to be investigated. That's why I pointed out that the assault needs to be investigated and the electoral irregularity has to be investigated. With regard to the electoral irregularity, it may have flouted the party guidelines. But the benchmark at the level of at the judicial precedent level is, will it affect the overall outcome of the votes? What the protocol said was that if you have votes being shown, those votes are going to be scrapped. They won't count. How many times did he see people show it?
Exactly.
If all, I mean, there are about 30 votes in Northeast, or 36, I think. If all of them showed their votes and you scrap the 36 votes, what effect will it have on the national picture?
It's 30 actually.
That's 30, yes,
you're right.
So if you take that out, what effect will it have on the national picture of 961 votes? So if you're going strictly by that, and they go through the administrative processes at the party level, and I mean, this is a conjecture, they agree that this indeed happened. That means 30 votes are gone. What effect does it have on the national picture of 961? So all of those nuances need to be looked at properly. But on this platform, I would advocate that the criminal element should be isolated. The person who committed the assault, its criminal should be hauled out and dealt with. Because we cannot encourage violence in our politics.
Especially for a dress rehearsal like you rightly put. I mean, we were expecting that this would go very smoothly without any challenges.
Yes.
But again, a lot of these events, they cannot be devoid of...
Tempests are high.
Exactly.
I mean, the adrenaline levels are up, you know. It's voting. People have invested a lot of resources and emotions. But you wouldn't expect the stakes to be this high at this level. You would expect that to be on the November 4th when you have a least number of candidates and a larger base of the party, hundreds and thousands voting. But of course, you can. It is a political process, and you can never take out some of these, I mean, skirmishes out of any political process at all.
Well, just a reminder that we're also live on 3FM 92.7, and so just pass the word on anyone who's driving and cannot necessarily watch us on TV or is engaged in some activity. Well, you can also listen to us 3FM 92.7. But back to the Bono region, where Abronya DC is not voting, and he cites personal reasons as to why he's not voting. Yet he was there early in the morning to check and make sure that everything was going pretty well. It's
curious. It's curious as to why he would decide not to vote for personal reasons. I mean, I will not attempt to be a psychic and get into his mind, but could it be that he doesn't want to be... I mean, what could be the reason for a regional chairman to say that he will not vote? It's quite a curious case.
But very critical.
Yes, I mean, for him to say that maybe he doesn't want to be tagged with any of the camps, or probably he wants to shelve his vote and make even a grander statement or a better statement during the main election of November 4th. But I'm very, very, very curious. But as to that, he's the regional chairman, and he's expected to ensure that, at least not for anything, for his name, that during his tenure in the Super Delegates Congress, it went well. And generally, the Bono region is not really a hotbed of when it comes to a flashpoint when it comes to business. Generally, Pastoral Center is, I know Sumiani very well, grew up there. So Pastoral Center is quite, I mean, quite removed from the city center. You go there, people would vote, and this is where usually they conduct their elections. It will happen calmly, people would get the results, and they'll go back home. But I'm very interested I would like to be an ant on the wall in his office to,
to
find out exactly the kind of conversation that informed him to get to this point of deciding that he would not vote, he would abstain. I mean, it is right to abstain from voting, but in this case, it's a very curious case. Maybe we should set up a commission of inquiry.
I know, right? Just for one person. A very interesting one. But also, so the majority chief whip and MP for Nsawama Dweji, Frank Anodompre, he says that whoever receives the most votes in the upcoming special delegates conference will automatically become the flag bearer of the NPP. So he's saying the outcome of this special delegates conference would undoubtedly have an impact on the eventual selection of the party's flag bearer. You've heard from Musa Dankwa. He says that unless there's a landslide victory for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, then this could shake up things a bit if he doesn't get that victory. Dr. Sasante doesn't even think that it's going to have an impact at all.
Whatever the case is, it all comes back to being able to isolate the fine numbers and appreciating the nuances. So the Honorable Anodompre, I respect his knowledge in politics, the number of years he's been there. Nobody becomes majority chief whip at his young age if the person has no political acumen. So it's a non-starter to say he doesn't know what he's saying. But on this platform, I disagree with him. I disagree with him to the extent that you have these people, 961. It will be an even, for two reasons. One, this is the makeup. So this is at the very top of the party, right? So they could vote one way. The second one, the makeup is different. You still have these people, but you would have constituency executives. You have people at the grassroots level. On many occasions, the New Patriotic Party has taught us, they've shown us, 2007, that what the party at the top says is not what the party on the ground says. They showed us it was on display, fully on display in the national elections. Where the top was saying John Wedu.
The regional elections, and the grassroots, exactly.
So that's a key point. Secondly, you have 10 people here or 10 candidates. It will be whittled down to 5. Alliances would form. Where would whose votes go? Where would that go? Where would that go? So you have to appreciate all those nuances. I'm not saying that cannot happen or his accession cannot happen, but it is premature to make that point, especially if you have a full appreciation of what could happen and the dynamics after this.
Exactly. Well, let's take a look at our next slide and give some more insight into the details regarding the elections for today.
All right, so you have, I mean, the presidential primary history. President Akufo-Addo ties up with Alan Chomate, his old friend. I remember what he said at the Otum Force Palace when he went there, that mentioned the fact that he knows Alan has been contesting on several occasions with him. So, of course, the history bears him out. 98, Alan wasn't in the park. I already spoke about how he was coaxed into dropping his ambition in 96 and in 98, so he wasn't there. 2007, the two of them were at Legon. 2010, the both of them contested. 2014. In all these occasions, with the exception of 98, President Akufo-Addo was victorious. 98, he lost to President Akufo. Can you bring back that for me, please?
Please, let's bring it back.
So that we focus on Alan a little bit more.
Can we bring it back to...
to the 4-time... yes. So Alan, yes. Finally, 2007, this is variously described as the establishment candidate. He contested. He came second to Akufo-Addo, decided to step down and allow Akufo-Addo to go. 2010, contested, didn't do so well. 2014, contested, went through super delegates. Main election, he didn't. And then 2023, that's why he's running with the Edru also tagline.
Exactly.
That, I mean, he is the bedrock of peace and stability in the party in the aftermath of the 2007. Because in 2007, you could have opted for a runoff. He decided that no, let's keep it's too hot. I'll step down. Let my and then people play back when Akufo-Addo says that when he is done with his term, he would ensure Alan becomes the winner. So next one to the third.
Well, things have changed now because the president says he's not throwing his support behind anyone at all.
From 2007 now, it's a long time. We say that in politics, a day is a long time. So
to imagine, change your mind.
So imagine a day. Imagine from 2007 to now. But Alan still goes with the Edru Sota. That it's his turn. I mean, he's bid his time. The NPP prides itself as a conservative party that follows the queue. So it's his turn now. Let's move on.
Okay.
To the next one. Three times. So who has contested 3 times?
Okay. If we can just move on to 3 times. There we go.
3 times, yes. So there we are. John Kufuor, absolutely 3 times. 92, he wasn't the second. First, Adubuahe won. Second was Dr. Gianni Selby, and then he was third. 96 regrouped, did all the what he could do, and came back stronger, and he won from number 3. He won. A lot went into that. A lot, absolutely a lot went into he being able to topple Edubuain. First, Edubuain had a health issue. Piamenka talks about it in his book. Dr. Dokofojo talks about it in his book on the NPP. But Kufuor did that, galvanized a lot of forces, was won in 96. But then he had to get into an alliance with Accra, the Great Alliance, and then they lost that election at the national level. And then in 98, he faced Nane Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
He faced J.H. Mensah. He faced Kunedu Apreku. The famous retort from J.H. Mensah, Banche Dada, you know, you cannot go back to the market with what J.H. Mensah described as Banche Dada because Kufuor had been rejected in 96. But he still, soldiered on. And then, even after that, he was met with the Concordia affair. There was a split in the party between himself as the leader and Alajete as the chairman of the party. They were able to work around that. And we are told that is where Alan came through very heavily for him in terms of resources and the rest. And that explains why later on he decided to root for him. So that was about it with the 98. 2000, he won, formed the first ever NPP government in over 30 years. John Kwame Kodua, so that's another person who's also been contesting quite on the low. So 92 he was there, 98 he's a lawyer, he's also a reverend minister based in the Ashanti region in Kumasi. And 2010 was the last time we heard of him in the contest. Kofi Kunedu Apreku, Akumadan Tomatoes, as they call him.
Akumadan Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, the way he mentions it, you know, he has.
Okay.
No, I mean, you don't begrudge him. This is a man who won a competition and moved from Chinobu Akodia Senior High School straight to Oregon, to high school in Oregon State in the United States. And that's where he got this training, became an economist, came back, did politics, became MP. And in 98, because he was spokesperson on finance,
he was.
And in Ghana's legislative history, from 92 till now, the 96 to 2000 parliament is credited as the best bella. When you have time, take time, go to the parliament library and get handsets of the debates in those parliaments. You would love it. Absolutely top notch. You would hear Akufo-Addo speaking on constitutional and legal affairs, where he would get up and tell the speaker that the speaker, Jasanan, is just an umpire. He doesn't have a say in whatever happens. You would have people like Hackman, you would have people like Kofi Kunedu Apreku speaking on finance matters. So that's where all of them actually cut their teeth, and they really pushed Kufuor into the helm of affairs in that 2000 election. So Kofi Kunedu Apreku was, a lot of people expected him to be finance minister. He wasn't made finance minister. He became trade and industry minister. He's also managed the Akufo-Addo's campaign before, and he contested in 98. He was third.
He was third in 98.
He was third, and he makes a claim that if others are claiming Edrusu, he is the real Edrusu because Kufuor has been there.
But he just had about a little over 2%.
But he was third. Edrusu is about position. It's my turn. So if Kufuor was first, Akufo-Addo was second, and they both had their day, of course, third person. Natural progression.
The real Edrusu.
He says he's the real
So why
Edrusu.
didn't he run with that campaign then?
I don't know. So he tried again in 2007, wasn't so stellar, and then he's back after frolicking with a lot of ECOWAS and everything. So that's yes. So 3 times, 4 times, 3 times. Yes. We have those who have done it twice.
2 times, and those who never even came.
The first contestant. Yes. The newbies. The news.
Well, Duke, I'm going to let you hold on at this point. We want to take a quick break. I will take a breather.
Right.
I don't know if you're taking a breather yet, but we would love to hear more from you because you have a lot of history to what's happening today. So we'll keep you here. I hope you don't mind.
Absolutely.
And Johnny Beresford Hughes takes over from this point. Remember that it's 1 o'clock, and so officially voting has closed at least all the centers or majority of them, and we'll keep you updated when voting or when counting actually begins. My name is Bella Mundi, and this is your Election Command Center. We're not ending yet. We're still updating you, so please don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We're live on TV3 and also on 3FM 92.7. Johnny will take over from this point.
Jackpot of the week. Place bets and hit the jackpot. Log into the 1xBet account. Click on the Take Part button, place bets, and take part in the jackpot draw. Give your luck a chance. Use promo code to get a bonus on your first deposit.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gambling can be addictive.
Ghana member, Kwaba, about end point in your party clinic. In church,